game sweep series win. Cubs open up a 4-game set next with the Mets, while James Shields finally earns his first win in a White Sox uniform, 9-6 over the Twins. The news, a service of Firestone Complete Auto Care, celebrating 90 years of keeping cars running newer longer. Stop by your local Firestone Complete Auto Care to get an additional 10% off any service. See store or driveafirestone.com for details. Whatever you drive, drive a Firestone. 5:05 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
It finally feels like summertime in Chicago. The weather is warm, but the news, it's even hotter. So whether this will be the summer of Trump,
Hillary is very weak. I think she's pathetic.
Or the summer of Hillary,
the Republican nominee should never get near the White House.
One thing's for sure.
We're going to have a very contentious campaign.
The temperature will reach 560.
We need a tough tone in this country, folks.
AM 560.
She can't even handle her emails. How can she be president?
The Answer.
If you suffer sinus congestion, trouble breathing through your nose, which gets worse when you lie down, facial pain, and sinus infections, antibiotics, nasal sprays, and steroids can only do so much. I'm Dr. Robert Deitch, and excited to tell you that recent advances in our field have opened exciting new doors. We're leading experts in a newer procedure called balloon sinus dilation that gently expands your natural sinus openings to fix underlying drainage problems. It takes 15 minutes and is performed in our office. Balloon sinus dilation is minimally invasive using local anesthesia and best of all delivers immediate and long-lasting relief. We're board-certified ENT specialists who can help you avoid expensive hospital visits and long recovery times.
For immediate and long-lasting relief from your sinus problems, call ENT Associates today at 847-882-5888 or visit nosinusproblems.com. That's ENT Associates at 847-882-5888 or online at nosinusproblems.com.
5:07, let's get an update on the roads. Our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Good morning, Mike. The westbound Chicago Skyway remains closed due to an earlier collision involving an overturned tank truck and fuel spill. A hazmat situation has been secured, we're told, but the cleanup will still take some time. It's happened around 80th in that area, so traffic is diverted off the westbound Skyway, or inbound, diverted off at 106th. Eastbound, everything is open. The area expressways and tollways look pretty good. Most of the overnight work is gone. There's still construction of the westbound Adams Tollway if you're headed out of town. 53 to Roselle in the left lane till 2 p.m., and then from Higgins to 25 in the right. Traffic is a service of Bank of America. Want cash back at Costco, Sam's Club, and BJ's today? Use your Bank Americard Cash Rewards Visa credit card and earn 2% cash back at wholesale clubs. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/getcashback. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the aircomfort.com Weather Center, here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Partial sunshine today with a high 81, then tonight becoming mostly cloudy with a shower or thunderstorm. Low 60. Tomorrow, clouds and sun, high 73. Patchy clouds tonight, low 56. Sun and patchy clouds for Saturday with a high of 77. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
61 at O'Hare, 67 along the lakefront, 54 in Aurora this morning. Next news update, 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Empowered Investing, the show dedicated to investors. Heard Saturdays at noon right here on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Just a quick recap of where things stand in Istanbul, Afghanistan, and Fallujah in the kind of global war on radical Islamic terror. So in Istanbul, 16 raids affected. I've heard varying accounts from 13 to 20 people detained, including 3 foreign nationals.
Yeah, 20 people were detained. According to CBS, 20 detained from 16 different locations.
So we don't know a lot more detail. At least I haven't seen more detail than that at this point. No one has claimed credit, although Turkish officials believe the Islamic State was responsible.
Yeah, but if they were, why haven't they come forward with one of their fancy Hollywood quality produced videos?
I don't pretend to know the mind or want to know the mind of al-Baghdadi. So,
well, you're supposed to allegedly get 2 times the rewards in heaven if you commit a terrorist act during Ramadan. And Ramadan's over July 6th. So that's why John Brennan, others here in the States are saying, be on alert, be prepared. There's going to be longer lines this 4th of July holiday at certain airports.
Yeah, well, I mean,
probably at all of them, but just be prepared.
So a friend of mine is coming back from a mission to Kenya. So she's flying out of Nairobi, and 7 security checkpoints, 2 outside the airport, 5 inside the airport in Nairobi.
Good. Wouldn't you rather be safe than sorry? I know it's a huge inconvenience, and there's talk yesterday of having security checkpoints on the road into airports at all U.S. airports. So at O'Hare, I-90 would that be your first line of defense, your first checkpoint? And then to get into baggage claim or to go into the terminals or to the ticket counter, you have another checkpoint. Kind of like what your friends experienced.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure we have to go to the Nairobi level of security, but that's exactly what I said to her. That's good news. I'm glad to hear that, actually, because of these incubators of terrorism that are not too far away. And obviously, these terrorist organizations in North Africa, the Middle East, frankly, East and West Africa, they're mobile because we've seen their terrorist activity pop up in a lot of different locations. So that's Turkey. That's Istanbul.
And real quick, the U.S. State Department urging Americans not to go to Turkey.
If you need the State Department to tell you not to go to Istanbul at present, then I think you have bigger problems.
Well, I'm telling you know what a problem is? There's Americans on a cruise ship that are supposed to go to Istanbul and fly out of Istanbul in 2 days. And my dear friend, my best friend in the world, her husband and 2 children are on the boat. She called the cruise company and they said, we're aware of the situation. We're proceeding as planned because we have passengers to pick up in Istanbul because it's it's always profits over people. She pushed him. She put, and it's a Naperville-based company. I'm not going to say the name. And she pushed, and now they're flying out of Athens, Greece, because she said, "Look, well, I will forward you the U.S. State Department's warning to American travelers: do not go to Istanbul, Turkey, right now, and especially not at the airport." And now they moved the ship. So I'm like, congratulations, you just moved a cruise ship. Power the people.
It's impressive. Now, does Athens still have an airport? I thought it was sold off for spare parts with Greece's current financial condition.
They do. So they're flying out of there in 2 days instead.
Okay, so that's interesting story. That's impressive. So then we've got that. So we had 250 ISIS fighters killed by drone strikes yesterday, allegedly outside Fallujah.
Did you see what was left of their vehicles? And not a lot there.
Right. Well,
which is good. They kind of had it coming. I hate to say it.
Yeah. The question, and we'll talk to Sebastian Gorka, who's an expert in this area at the top 7 o'clock hour. The question is, what overall effect does that have? What overall effect do these drone strikes have? It seems they continue to come at us like orcs. So you can kill a bunch of them, and then there's a bunch more that you've activated to come out from under Middle Earth to continue the assault. So I'm not sure. It's nice that you took some terrorists out. I'm not sure that is a strategy for victory. Just these drone strikes as your main method to fight radical Islamic terror is my point. And then lastly, breaking this morning, 13 killed in a suicide bombing on a bus in outside Kabul in Afghanistan. So I'll be fascinated to learn, particularly both in Turkey and Afghanistan, how Christian bigotry caused those terrorist attacks like it did in Orlando. So I'm going to be interested to hear from the regime and its various surrogates on that score. But I wanted to get to this other matter, Amy, because your good friend, Coach Mike Ditka, was on the show with us yesterday.
Yeah, in the 8 o'clock hour. And if people want to see that or hear the interview, where can they?
They can go to morninganswerchicago.com where we podcast the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Morninganswerchicago.com.
Or they can go to upstream-ideas.com where I posted the interview.
Let's go to
upstream-ideas.com.
ideas.com.
Yeah.
And I love the dash. Don't forget the dash.
No, not Daesh. Dash. And we'll introduce Amy to the internet a little bit later so she's aware of the websites where we post our content.
I really thought this internet thing was going to go away.
Fad.
Yeah.
Like the hula hoop.
Yeah.
Well, he's on yesterday, and there was this report that Tyson, Ditka, Bobby Knight, all going to be at the Republican National Convention in Cleveland next month, where we will also be to broadcast our show. And Ditka tells us he hasn't been contacted at all, but if Trump calls him personally, he's going to be in Cleveland.
And I found out because I was texting back and forth with the coach all day and said, I texted him, let me know when Trump calls you, because we put out a tweet saying, the ball's in your court, Donald Trump. He says he'll go if you call him. Well, Donald Trump did call him around noon. And guess what happened? Mike Ditka said no. And he told us that he would go to Cleveland and help out any way he can. But he said that he told me too and texted that doing speeches at convention really isn't his style.
Yeah, but he also, although he's given many, many paid speeches over the years, but maybe he doesn't want to do it anymore. I don't know. Maybe he was just focused on a short game because the call, apparently, this is according to Snead, who orchestrated the call between the two. The call happened while Ditka was playing at Bobolink, where he's a member and he plays all the time.
Right. He told us yesterday he was on the way to the golf course.
Yeah, right. That's what he does, which is great. That's what I want to do.
I want to be Mike Ditka.
Right. And so, so he said very nice things. So, I mean, Snead quotes from the exchange between the two. Ditka saying what he said to us: everything you say about things about the country, I agree with your opinions. You resonate with my kind of people. I believe in what you say wholeheartedly. And but then he said, Trump asked him, Coach, if you'd like to speak, it would be my great honor. Ditka responds, I'm not big into doing things like that. I'm not going to change opinions. Opinions are like a-holes. I believe in the way the Constitution was written, but people want to change that. Immigration, same thing. People want to change things. I believe in you and what you're saying. Then the connection was lost. So I would say it's still pending because as you said, he said he would go to Cleveland if Trump wanted him in Cleveland. But
I'm sorry. Do you know what I'm doing here with my left hand? It's all about the
are you
money,
are you trying to start
money.
a fire?
Yes, I am. It's the moolah. It's the money.
Oh.
Yeah, you can come, but what about line drops? There's got to be a little give, a little sugar. Huh?
You got to sweeten the pot for the coach.
Put a little cherry on top of that sundae.
I see how it works.
So maybe that might change his mind, but and then he kept telling me too. He's like, "Well, I don't travel." And I say, "You go to New York, doesn't he? He does a show. It's called football pregame on ESPN. He does that on Sundays.
That's
traveling to New York. Is that not? Is that considered travel?
Or Bristol.
Bristol, Connecticut. Yeah. So he travels
to
every
do
weekend.
The show.
Every weekend.
Some people call it NFL Countdown.
Okay.
Other people call it the pregame football show on ESPN. So he does one of the two. I'm not.
All right. So he does the NFL Countdown on Sunday. So he travels every Sunday during the football season, and he goes a lot between his house here and his home in Florida. So why not stop by Cleveland? Because it's a money. He needs to, Trump needs to offer. I'll bring my plane, maybe a chopper to pick you up to take you to Cleveland.
Bobolink ain't cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, Donald. You know what I'm saying? You reading between the lines?
I'm not going to just
picking up what I'm laying down.
You don't just volunteer your time.
Yeah. So that's a pending matter. That could be a big surprise. Both of them are pretty good at manipulating the media, so this could be a little dance they're doing leading up to Cleveland, generate a little bit more interest.
And he texted me like, I don't think I'm going to go. But that's not. And then he put a little prayer sign. He does emojis.
Maybe he's looking for.
Do you want to see the emoji?
Maybe he's looking for Amy Jacobson to sweeten the pot, as well as Donald Trump.
Yeah, right.
But now, as to Mike Tyson, his publicist said no one's ever. His publicist said he'll be nowhere near Cleveland.
Oh,
so
really?
Tyson not going apparently, unless Trump is going to work out the logistics for Iron Mike to be there as well. Both Iron Mikes.
Money. Did he offer him money? Can I sing that song anymore?
Yeah. Tyson is demanding that Trump produce Hangovers 4 through 10, in which Tyson will star in order to appear at the convention.
What is a hoot?
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Today we're going to have plenty of sunshine, a few high clouds, just really a gorgeous day. 81 degrees. Tonight you can open up the windows again, turn off the AC. We'll have a low of 60 degrees with a possible shower or thunderstorm. And Friday's going to be pleasant with clouds and some sunshine. Cooler, a high of 73. Any high travel times this early in the morning? Here's Jim Talamonte.
Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Dan. There's no travel time on the westbound Skyway. It's still closed. There was an overnight crash. Tank truck rolled over. A hazmat situation. That's been secured, but the cleanup's going to take some time. The good news is the westbound Skyway, it is still closed, but now not until 87th. This happened around 80th on the westbound Skyway. Traffic had been diverted off at 106th. Now you can get to 87th Street before being forced off the roadway. Closed from there to Stony Island. Eastbound, it's all open. Elsewhere, the expressways and tollways right now are looking great. Little road work again on the westbound Adams Tollway. Heading out of town, no delays there or anywhere else yet. Jim Talamonte, Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
Hey, your kids won't be thinking about school very much this summer, but it's the perfect time for you to think about where you're sending your child back to school this fall. And more parents are thinking about private school. Maybe that's you. Well, private school has never been more affordable thanks to our good friends over at halfpriceschools.com, where you can find tuition vouchers for private schools across the Chicago area available at half off the normal price. There's no catch. It's real simple. Find a school near you, purchase that tuition voucher, and prepare to send your child off to school this fall. Halfpriceschools.com has schools located all across the Chicagoland area, even into Wisconsin, like Lake Geneva, Palatine, Kankakee, Westchester, LaSalle, Romeoville. But don't delay. Summer won't last forever, and school will be starting again before you know it. Visit halfpriceschools.com today. Many of these vouchers have already sold out, so do not wait. Visit halfpriceschools.com.
On AM 560, The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to focus in and talk about the big ideas behind the important issues. Enter Upstream Ideas online at upstream-ideas.com. Upstream Ideas, in partnership with the Illinois Policy Institute, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted beliefs. Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now at upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to help encourage you to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit freer, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGdirect.com.
Do you have a family? Would you like to help make sure they'll be taken care of if anything were to happen to you? If you answered yes, you probably need life insurance. Now, do you think life insurance is expensive? If you answered yes to that too, you definitely need to give AIG Direct a call. We could find you a $250,000 policy for just $14 a month, which means you could save hundreds of dollars a year. Call us now for a free, no-obligation quote. 1-800-400-7052. Since 1995, we've helped millions of people find out if they could save up to 70% on their term life insurance. See how affordably we can help you protect your family. Call AIG Direct now for your free quote. 1-800-400-7052. You could save up to 70%. That's 1-800-400-7052. 1-800-400-7052.
AM 560, The Answer.
Thank you. Money, gonna make the world dance. Who sings this song? This is the best part. Ready? Ain't about the cha-chang, cha-chang.
Yeah.
Ba-bang, ba-bang. Oh, I love that song.
Eric and Kathy back. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Kathy doesn't sing.
Oh, she doesn't.
And Eric is a little snotty sometimes, okay?
I haven't.
Not like you.
I haven't heard the show.
You have a wonderful disposition. You've
just
never listened to Eric and Kathy. Okay, sure.
No, actually, I did one time.
Oh, what? Oh, in 20 years, your first time?
And I won one.
Where'd you touch yourself first?
I called in. They do these contests. Like,
Yeah.
Do you know the definition of this word?
Oh, dear Lord.
And
you gave them words to use?
And it's for, like, third graders.
All right. What
So I called in and I won like a package from Light FM of, all their swag. I won it.
What was the word?
I don't know why I was up even that early to listen
Why
to it.
are you calling
I was just
into
flipping
Eric
through
and
stations.
Kathy?
I flipping through stations and I heard this, what is a somniloquist?
Oh, okay.
And so I called in.
A bad rash.
No.
A ventriloquist, but there's 2 of them? 7 of them?
No.
What is a somniloquist?
Somniloquist.
A somniloquist.
Sleepwalker.
Oh, yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
I knew that.
So I'll share my swag with you from 12 years ago when I won that. Okay, so this is a rather interesting story. Captured where you have an ancestral home, right?
Yeah. No, I have buddies that work at ABC 15. It's the
in Phoenix.
ABC affiliate in Phoenix, and somebody called their newsroom and said, there's a secret private meeting going on the tarmac at Sky Harbor Airport between Bill Clinton and Loretta Lynch. Apparently, Bill Clinton hopped on board her plane because he was in Phoenix, coincidentally, at the same time he had just got done playing golf.
Mm-hmm.
So they had a crew already there doing a separate story. So they were right there to get the key shot of Loretta Lynch walking off of her plane.
Because Loretta Lynch was in Phoenix to talk about blah, blah, blah. It's local law enforcement, not other, kind of thinly veiled excuses for a junket to Phoenix. She was asked about it because ABC 15 caught that meeting.
It's supposed to be private.
And she said, I did see President Clinton at the Phoenix airport as he was leaving and spoke to myself and my husband on the plane. So they did have the conversation. Our conversation, though, lest you think anything nefarious was afoot, let me assuage any fears along those lines, because Loretta Lynch, who I think we can all agree whose integrity is impeccable.
Oh, yeah, right.
Our conversation was a great deal about grandchildren. It was primarily social, about our travels. And he mentioned, Bill Clinton, that he played golf in Phoenix.
Well, here's the deal. She was shocked when our colleagues at ABC 15 asked her at the press conference, like, oh, hey, by the way, we caught you. We saw you having a meeting with Bill Clinton on your plane. And they asked her, and she had to pretty much say what you said, but she was a little panic-stricken.
I did see President Clinton at the Phoenix airport as I was leaving, and he spoke to myself and my husband on the plane. Our conversation was a great deal about his grandchildren. It was primarily social and about our travels. He mentioned the golf he played.
Yeah, and then, but this was hours before the Benghazi report was about to be released.
Yeah, well, lest you think there should have been a follow-up, Loretta Lynch beat you to the punch. There was no discussion, she said, on any matter pending before the Justice Department or any matter pending with any other body. There was no discussion of Benghazi, no discussion of State Department emails. By way of example, I would say it was current news of the day, the Brexit decision and what it would mean. A friendly chat between the Attorney General and the husband of a woman under federal investigation. What's wrong with that?
I mean, really, what could go wrong? I mean, it's bad optics at the very least, but she should recuse herself from the email investigation. Because don't get anywhere. You don't get within arms.
Not involved in the email investigation.
No,
She's
I know,
waiting
but
for the FBI to refer the matter to Justice Department one way or the other.
Right, but we don't know what really transpired in that 30-minute conversation. You don't talk about your grandchildren for 30 minutes. That's about a 2-minute part of a conversation.
This is what.
This is what's wrong with the system.
This is what would be known generally as an ex parte conversation. And in no way should the Attorney General be talking to the subject of a federal investigation or the husband of a subject of a federal investigation. It is not just bad optics. It is unethical legally. The Attorney General of the United States.
Well, yeah.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
You've been working hard for years to build your business. You've invested a lot of time, hard work. Things are going great. Good for you. But in seconds, all your hard work goes up in smoke. You never really thought about maintaining your computer and network infrastructure. It always just worked. Like many businesses, you took your IT system and support, or lack thereof, for granted. Now what? A call to your internet provider? The cable company? I don't think so. They're not going to be able to even come close to handling this problem. This is a job for Turnkey IT. Turnkey IT is a well-organized team of certified professionals that take care of things before they break, and often know about problems before you do. They become an integral part of your business so you can focus on what you do best. Just like your business, it's all about having a plan and not just reacting when things start to fall apart. Talk to David or any one of the Turnkey IT pros about your plan. Go online to turnkey.pro. Turnkey.pro.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Stopgap budget looks like it will be voted on today, and the deal is in the making. Did Ronner cave, or did he make a proper strategic decision? We'll take your calls at 5:38.
But first, into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, Turkey's state-run news agency says police have detained 13 in connection with Tuesday's deadly airport attack that killed 42 in this country. Arizona Senator John McCain saying more attacks from ISIS, like yesterday's in Istanbul, could be on the way.
And as long as they have Raqqa, a base with which to export these acts of terror, there are going to be more attacks, either self-radicalized and or directly sent out.
30 people have been killed in a suicide attack in Afghanistan. Afghan officials say a suicide bomber targeted a bus carrying police trainees this morning. CIA Director John Brennan says the deadly terror attack in Istanbul shows ISIS remains a serious threat.
I think we still have a ways to go before we're able to say that we have made some significant progress against them.
Speaking to the Council on Foreign Relations, Brennan said while no one has claimed responsibility, it bears the hallmarks of the group. Officials in Montana say a bicyclist was killed by a grizzly bear near Glacier National Park. Sheriff's office there says the attack happened yesterday when the victim and another person were riding their bikes outside of the town of West Glacier. The president north of the border in Canada telling Congress they have to come up with an immigration reform plan.
I'm pushing very hard and will continue to push until I leave this office, and expect the next president to push for a comprehensive immigration reform plan that can fix those aspects of the system that are broken so that we remain a nation of laws and a nation of immigrants.
The president's comments came at a North America Leaders Summit. Illinois lawmakers expected to vote on a stopgap spending deal that would ensure schools open in August and would fund some state services over the next 6 months. Federal judge has ruled against 4 Chicago police officers who contend they were transferred off Mayor Rahm Emanuel's security detail for political reasons. And the Illinois Department of Employment Security this morning says only a fraction of the people applying for unemployment insurance provide enough information for the agency to match them with potential employers. So, beginning July 17, the department will vigorously enforce a requirement for all new applicants to register with the Illinois Employment Service, upload a resume to the website illinoisjobslink.com, and other new rules. New applicants will have to complete a registration for those services before they will receive any unemployment benefits. Cubs cruise to a 9-2 win over the Reds, while it was the White Sox over the Twins 9-6. Andrew Luck, now the highest paid player in the NFL. Of course, he's a quarterback. 6-year contract, $140 million. The news, a service of Oscar Mayer Beef Hot Dogs. When you think back to your favorite foods growing up, hot dogs are always on the list, especially Oscar Mayer hot dogs. But as you get older, you want to start eating more like a grown-up. That's why Oscar Mayer Jumbo Beef Hot Dogs are made with the great grown-up taste of 100% Angus beef. So enjoy a childhood favorite all grown up. 5:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
What is this nonsense?
The Joe Walsh Show.
Time magazine had uncovered a question. Why did 49 people die? Why, are you serious? 49 innocent people lost their lives in Orlando because a Muslim terrorist killed them. There's your answer, you stupid media.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5. Right after Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
LiveWatch helps you connect and respond up to 10 times faster in an emergency. LiveWatch has no long-term contracts. Save up to 50% off home security. Call 855-LiveWatch or visit livewatch.com.
Hi, this is Dr. David Kolbaba. You know, hormone balance is a big deal. If your hormones are out of whack, it can account for so many health challenges like low energy and fatigue, spaced out memory, low sex drive, otherwise known as the dead in bed syndrome. Nothing excites you anymore with you watching more and more TV every night, misusing food or alcohol, and then there's the hair loss that you thought was age appropriate, and then the weight gain. Let me tell you about our specially priced, dirt cheap hormone test. No blood, just saliva. Interesting that with over 33 years in private practice, I've never seen normal hormone test results in the first go-around. And that's why you need to have us help you balance your hormones once and for all. So call our HealthQuest radio hotline at 800-794-1855. You can't get any cheaper than dirt cheap. No blood, just spit. Call 800-794-1855. Oh, and be sure to listen to HealthQuest Radio with me, Dr. David Kolbaba, this Saturday morning at 11. But for now, call 800-794-1855.
I am so glad I did it. I'm just mad at myself for waiting so long. Hi, Amy Jacobson here for CertaPro Painters. You know, our front porch had chipping and peeling. It looked old and run down, but thanks to CertaPro Painters, it looks brand new again. And trust me, my neighbors are happy I did it. And you know, it's not too late to book that painting project. But don't wait. Be sure to get on CertaPro Painters' summer painting schedule today. Call 800-GO-CERTA or visit CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. You know, CertaPro Painters will work around your busy schedule to get your home looking picture perfect for all your summer entertaining. That's why CertaPro Painters says we do painting, you do life. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Whether it's residential or commercial, interior or exterior, it's not too late to get that painting project off your to-do list. Call now, 1-800-GO-CERTA, 1-800-GOCERTA, or visit CertaPro.com today.
537 in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. Let's get the latest with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The Chicago Skyway remains closed westbound from 87th to Stony Island after an overnight tank truck crash near 80th. Traffic is diverted off at 87th. Eastbound, it is open. On the inbound Ryan, there's a crash in the express lanes. This is near 51st. Two right lanes are blocked. The locals are quicker, about 25 minutes, 95th to downtown, but heavier in the express. Eden's Kennedy, just fine. Inbound Eisenhower, just a little heavy past Manheim. Inbound Stevenson has a 2-minute delay, Cicero to Kedzie. Bishop Ford, a 10-minute delay, 111th to the Ryan. Traffic is a service of Firestone Complete Auto Care. Firestone Complete Auto Care is celebrating 90 years of keeping cars running newer, longer. Stop by your local Firestone Complete Auto Care to get an additional 10% off any service. See store or driveafirestone.com for details. Whatever you drive a Firestone. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Partly sunny and 81 today, low of 60 overnight with a shower or a thunderstorm. Pleasant day ahead tomorrow, clouds and sunshine, and 73. Currently 61 at O'Hare, 65 along Chicago's lakefront, and your next news update is at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Advanced Planning Advisors, bringing you Smart Money Talk with Mike Moylan and Rob Curvin, Saturday mornings at 6.
If you're talking about it, I'll be talking about it. Dennis Prager here. Join me this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. An alert texter who is not somnambulating.
Is not doing what? Was that the
somnambulating? That's
spelling.
That's sleepwalking.
Oh,
I was telling my Eric and Kathy story, and I said somniloquist. I must have said I must be somnambulating. I must be sleepwalking right now because I said somniloquist was sleepwalker.
Right.
And of course I'm sleep talker. I meant to say sleep talker.
Oh my God! How are you going to get through the rest of the day?
Well, I'm glad we have alert listeners who are awake at 5 a.m. I'm not.
A sleep talker. Well, you're kind of being a sleep talker.
Yeah, seriously.
Sleeping.
Yeah. All right.
Gosh,
so thank you
Dan.
for the correction. I'm
Just
glad we have alert people out there.
Just when I thought I couldn't think any less of you, then this happened.
Yeah, no. I find a new bottom. It's very much like the state of Illinois.
Yes, it is.
I wonder, Congress is helping Puerto Rico restructure their debt, even though they're going to default on a bond payment with congressional aid. But I wonder if maybe the path forward for Illinois is to enlist the federal government to reclassify Illinois as a U.S. territory and not a state anymore, so that we can get oversight.
We can get a $2 billion
assistance.
bailout.
So here's the question. There seems to be a deal afoot. It's being fine-tuned and presented. It happened yesterday evening. It's being fine-tuned. It'll be presented today for a vote. And effectively, it avoids ends the game of brinkmanship, avoids the prospect of schools, most notably the worst-run schools, the most financially destitute schools of their own doing, like the Chicago Public Schools. It avoids them not opening in August. And the question is, did Rauner cave by agreeing to the broad terms of this deal, which include more money for CPS, specifically for teacher pensions, as well as the empowerment for Chicago to raise property taxes to, in part, solve the problem of their own making themselves.
Yeah, I mean, it gives Mayor Emanuel something that he's been asking for, and that's the ability to raise our property taxes to pay for teachers' pensions. Now, I thought they were already going to raise our property taxes to pay for police and fire pensions. Now we have this. So is this on top of already the proposal on the table? Well, not the proposal, because my property taxes did go up.
Yes.
Because I escrow. So anyone who's been escrowing their property taxes knows and has seen the new future.
And your property
for Chicago.
taxes will continue to go up. So what this does, just specifically, $250 million tax hike above the property tax cap. So it says, okay, Chicago, you did this. Rather than having everyone or in the rest of the state bail you out, you deal with your own constituents, and you have to run your own municipal government, and you have to be responsible for the school system that you're running and the current state of that system. So
it sounds fair, but I don't want to do it as a taxpayer.
Well,
I don't want
course.
to pay for my politicians' sins and fraudulent spending for the past 50 years. I mean, it's ridiculous that we have to bear the burden of their wrongdoings.
Well, yeah, but isn't it all our wrongdoing? Because how did these people get there? They didn't descend from a spaceship. They were voted in. And the same people and the same big government attitude is voted in every cycle in Chicago and to a large extent in Illinois. So when you look at this proposal, you say, oh, well, Rauner, if you don't like this, if you don't understand the strategic reality that Rauner was facing, which I do, this is an area I don't think Rauner caved. I think he made the right, proper strategic decision here.
Okay.
But remember who is in power. Remember what the balance of power in the state of Illinois is, with supermajorities of Chicago Democrats run by the longest-serving House Speaker in the history of our country at the state level, run by the Senate President who's been in the General Assembly for 40 years, supermajorities they both enjoy, in addition to what we know about Chicago and Cook County, which is dominated by Chicago Democrats for 100 years. And then you say, well, Rauner, whoa. Well, what about all these other people? If you don't like what you're getting, change the balance of power. Don't vote for the Rahm Emanuels and the Richie Daleys and all of their useful idiot legislators and city councilmen in the city of Chicago.
Yeah, but we need a strong candidate. We need you to run for mayor of Chicago.
No,
don't poo-poo that.
I just poo-pooed it. You just got poo-pooed. How does that feel?
I don't feel like getting poo-pooed.
Yeah. It's $205 million.
Too early.
The $205 million bailout, if you will, of CPS for the pension pickup. So here's the thing. So just on the pension piece,
yes,
just so we can understand this. There's a couple $100 million there. This would essentially provide the funding for CPS to continue picking up 2/3 of the teachers' contribution to their own pensions. So remember, they wanted to do that, but since Tiny Dancer and Claypool are cowards and they don't want to take on Karen Lewis, they rather just play the politics of grievance with respect to state government and the rest of Illinois. They want to have teachers contribute more to their pensions. But right now, of the 8% that teachers contribute to their pensions, CPS actually picks up 2/3 of it. So they're actually really contributing 2%. And by the way, just so we understand, CPS teacher 30 years in will pay $140,000 into the system. Really, again, only a third of that because CPS has been picking up the
rest.
2/3 of it for the last 30 years. And they will earn out, if they live to average life expectancy and their age demographic, earn out $2.1 million.
That is so greedy.
140 grand in, 2.1 million out. So, and what we're trying to do here, what Chicago is demanding we do here, otherwise the Democrats in charge of the General Assembly are willing to shut down the government and block the schools from opening, is maintain the status quo of that. That's what they're saying. And so what this money, though, how this money is being formulated, at least in the proposals that were reported yesterday, is we're going to set aside $200 million to provide that funding, but it's going to be contingent on some sort of pension reform. I assume something on the order of reform of how the CPS is doing that pension pickup I'm describing at some indeterminate point in the future. So there is at least an effort to try and frankly, mandate some change going forward, even though this money is going to be set aside at present. Let's go to Zip in Hyde Park. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, Dan. Hey, Amy. Good morning. How you guys doing?
Good morning.
Good, Zip. How are you?
Great. Nationally, Donald Trump could easily get 20% of the minority vote. And now Bruce has to move into the community. And that's what the Democrats are beating us on PR.
Yeah.
The black community nowhere is suffering. I mean, Inglewood, Woodlawn. I got 30 kids with me in the summer program that I'm supervising. They're scared to walk from Cottage Grove to Stony Island on 63rd Street by Reverend Brazier Church in a town that is ran by Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
Dan and Amy, it's going to happen. Blacks are going to start coming back to the party that we originated from. The Democrats are so unfair. Good morning. And another thing, guys, I think you guys are going to be safe until after the election. So maybe we can get a picture of you guys on the website together. See the picture they got of you guys looking in two different directions.
Okay. All right. Thanks for the call, Zip. I mean,
Thanks, Zip. And thanks for the work you do for the kids.
Yeah, and good PR. I mean,
you need two more?
Zip has good PR recommendations for the Republican Party. He has good PR recommendations for us.
Yeah.
It's nice to have a kind of a PR agent at large out there for you.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
I love Zip. I love the name. Do you think that's his real name or stage name?
Win one for the Zipper.
Hey, nice. And you're going to like this nice forecast. Just gorgeous today. Great day to go to Great America if you have a scooter. A high of 81 degrees. Then tonight we're going to have cloudy skies with a shower or thunderstorm in spots, low of 60 degrees. And for your Friday, it's just going to be nice. A little bit cooler, plenty of sunshine, a high of 73. Anything nice on the roadways? Any motorized scooters out there? Here's Jim Telemonte.
No, I mean, we did have an overturned tank truck during the overnight hours, and it still is causing a closure of the westbound Skyway. From 87th to Stony Island, traffic is diverted off the Skyway westbound at 87th. There was a fuel leak, and that hazmat situation is secure. It's still a lot of cleanup going on. Eastbound, the Skyway is open. Then there's the inbound Ryan. A crash in the express lanes at 51st had the express lanes closed momentarily. They've just reopened, but it's pretty heavy from the merge to past that crash site at 51st. And then from the Stevenson on in, it's about 25 minutes, 95th to downtown, but heavier in the express. Eden's, Kennedy, still fine. Inbound Eisenhower, a 3-minute delay, Manheim to first. Stevenson, now 50 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
Did you know 40% of all cancer could be prevented? That's a fact. Along with maintaining appropriate body weight and regular exercise, the American Institute for Cancer Research and the USDA confirm that eating 9 to 11 servings of fruits and vegetables every day is the key. Now ask yourself, am I at risk? How many servings of fruits and vegetables did I eat today? Balance of Nature has solved this problem and provides an easy and affordable way to consume over 10 servings of 31 different whole fruits and vegetables every day.
Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Call now, 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
Are you hiring? Do you know where to post your job to find the best candidates? Posting your job in one place isn't enough to find quality candidates. If you want to find the perfect hire, you need to post your job on all the top job sites. And now you can. With ZipRecruiter.com, you can post your job to 100 plus job sites, including social media networks like Facebook and Twitter, all with a single click. Find candidates in any city or industry nationwide. Just post once and watch your qualified candidates roll in to ZipRecruiter's easy-to-use interface. No juggling emails or calls to your office. Quickly screen candidates, rate them, and hire the right person fast. Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by over 400,000 businesses. And right now, listeners can try ZipRecruiter for free by going to ZipRecruiter.com/trial. That's ZipRecruiter.com/trial. One more time. To try it for free, go to ZipRecruiter.com/trial.
People who can afford a LASIK procedure sure are lucky. Imagine being able to throw away your contacts and glasses. Imagine waking up tomorrow with 20/20 vision. Too bad everyone can't afford LASIK. Well, guess what? There's a company that agrees with you. The LASIK Vision Institute is now offering dramatically low prices on high-quality LASIK to make it affordable for everyone. That means you get the latest FDA-approved LASIK technology for a fraction of what others charge. And if you call right now, we'll schedule a free appointment so you can discover if LASIK is right for you. Results may vary. Call 1-800-700-8145. Even better, if you're one of the first 100 callers, ask about an extra 20% discount off our already low-cost services. We've already performed over 1 million procedures. Let us help you. Discover how you can get the quality LASIK experience you deserve at a fraction of what others charge. For your free appointment, call 1-800-700-8145. 1-800-700-8145.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues now, and make sure to stay tuned to catch me, Mike Gallagher, coming up at 9, only on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, Amy, I thought you'd be interested in this story as a former supermodel yourself.
Exactly.
Christina Estrada, former supermodel Christina Estrada, who actually, I don't mean to be catty, but I don't really see the supermodel thing here.
I think the former part is important. She's a little, she's older and she's not ugly. She's easy on the eyes, but I don't know if that was ever supermodel material.
Yeah. I mean, she married a 61-year-old Saudi billionaire.
I'm sure it was all out of love.
I assume. I can only assume.
She loved his money. No. But they were married for 13 years. And
she's not going to go the distance with the Saudi billionaire, but she would like to go the distance with his money.
Yeah, she was in London's High Court yesterday detailing, the hardships that she faces and how she needs money to survive, to, keep up with the lifestyle that she's used to. But her lifestyle is a little different than mine. She's seeking $262 million in compensation.
She rejected a $50 million settlement, and she explained why. Because, look, she's needs $73 million for a property they own. She needs $1.3 million a year closed budget, which is actually not dissimilar to yours. $53,000 a year. Not one time, a year for fur coats.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
This lady's cray-cray.
$146,000 for haute couture dresses, and are there any other kind?
The haute couture, I don't even know what that is.
And high fashion, au courant. $28,000 a year for shoes.
Oh, this is my favorite. She needs $37,000 for Wimbledon tickets.
Yeah, $13,000. I mean, this is an example of some of the burdens that she has to carry. She had to pay $37,000 for Wimbledon tickets. She had to pay $13,300 to attend Sir Elton John's annual white tie ball. Obviously, she also needs $5.9 million for a country home, $454,000 for staff.
I know.
$647,000 to rent a yacht for 2 weeks, $6,500 for the tip for the crew, $330,000 for a Paris holiday at the presidential suite at the Ritz, plus $99,000 for the nanny's room, of course, as well as many thousands of dollars for vacations in the south of France, as well as beauty treatments, luxury handbags, casual handbags, clutch handbags, mobile phones, new suitcases, face cream, and sunglasses. And I'll tell you what, you get through all that, and you know what it adds up to? $262 million.
But you know what, though? You know why she's doing this? She's angry. Guess what her husband did? He left her for a 25-year-old Lebanese news reporter.
Is there anything more sad, more worthy of empathy than when one gold digger gets turned in for a younger gold digger. It's so sad.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
If you love the hunt, this is for you. I'm talking about the hunt for special antique collectibles, furniture, art, and decorative items that make your home sweet home special. A place where you'll discover Chicago's best kept treasures. Northwest Treasure and sister store Home on the Highway are just a block apart on Northwest Highway on Chicago's northwest side. In addition to an amazing selection of antique collectibles and furniture with a mid-century modern focus, you'll find vintage jewelry, decorative items, art, and loads of man cave. Mention AM 560 and receive a 10% discount on your first purchase. Northwest Treasure and Home on the Highway are conveniently located at 6122 and 6217 Northwest Highway in Chicago, close to Chicago's nicest neighborhoods and Park Ridge. And there's plenty of free parking. Call Northwest Treasure and Home on the Highway, home of Chicago's best kept treasures, at 773-774-6353. For more information, call 773-774-7653.
Thinking about life insurance? What if you could make one free phone call and learn your best price from nearly a dozen highly rated, price-competitive companies? Well, that's exactly what happens when you call SelectQuote Life. For example, George is 40. He was getting sky-high quotes from other companies because he takes meds to control his blood pressure. But when I shopped around, I found him a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $28 a month. I'm SelectQuote agent Dan Savino, and believe me, if SelectQuote isn't shopping for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-613-7416. That's 1-800-613-7416. 1-800-613-7416. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop. You save. Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
ChicagoRadioDeals.com can help you spiff up your home and auto. Wash away the road grime and dirt with a great deal from Fuller's Car Wash of Elk Grove Village. A full-service car wash package includes a wash, vacuum, windows, a dash wipe down, an $18 deal for only $10. Wow. Give your home the clean it needs with an excellent deal from the Grout Medic of LaGrange. Grout Medic offers a shower touch-up that includes a steam clean of your shower tile and grout, or choose a clean and color seal floor package for your kitchen or bathroom floor tile. Each deal, $110. And shop at a great local hardware store with personal customer service. Purchase the Addison Building Materials $100 gift certificate for only $50. Addison Building Materials is a true value retailer. So tackle your home improvement projects with help from your good friends over at ChicagoRadioDeals.com.
Global unrest, political uncertainty, economic policy changes. If only you had a crystal ball to predict how the stock market's going to perform, what would that look like? You'd have all your finances in top shape and be prepared for anything the market throws at you. Sound impossible? Not with Online Trading Academy. They'll help you get all the inside info to make those informed decisions so you can become your own expert. It's easy to get started. Just call 888-984-TRADE to receive 2 free passes to a half-day workshop at Online Trading Academy's Lombard Training Center. You'll learn how to start calling the shots so you can make money when the markets go up, down, or sideways. Again, this is a free seminar with limited seating, so call now, 888-984-TRADE, or register online at otaclass.com. Mention AM560 and get a free home video study course valued at $247 just for attending. Learn from the pros and reserve your seat today.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
President Obama defends populist demagoguery because, he's a populist demagogue at 6:06.
And Oscar solves its diversity problem. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, a man shot and killed on the near north side. We'll have an update on that developing story. While Governor Bruce Rauner and Democrat and Republican leaders huddled over a budget compromise yesterday, AM 560's David Stewart lays out some details of what might have been talked about in those closed-door negotiations. Schaumburg extending its hotel tax to Airbnb, including very interesting place where that home-sharing tax will apply. And the arrest of a Chicago man in New Orleans is going viral. Cubs over the Reds. Sox beat the Twins on a partly sunny day. WIND Chicago News Time is 6 o'clock.
Fox Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. Terror suspects rounded up in Turkey amid the probe into Tuesday's terror attack at Istanbul's airport. Fox's Jessica Gallagher live in our Middle East bureau.
Dave, 16 simultaneous raids across Istanbul have landed police 13 suspects that may be linked to Tuesday's triple suicide bombings at Ataturk Airport. 4 of the detainees are foreign nationals, according to the Associated Press. Meanwhile, 6 separate, also simultaneous raids were carried out in the coastal city of Izmir. 9 people were arrested on suspicion of having links to ISIS. Turkey's state-run Anadolu news agency says police seized 3 hunting rifles and documents related to the militants. There has been no claim of responsibility for the airport violence. Dave.
Jessica, Taliban terrorists hit a bus full of police officer trainees in Afghanistan. That suicide bombing killed at least 30. President Obama went to Canada pledging to dismantle terrorist networks. He also talked trade, and Fox's Jared Halpern's live in Ottawa.
Before leaving, President Obama rallied Canadian lawmakers to support free trade deals like the Trans-Pacific Partnership.
Very few of our domestic industries can sever what is now truly a global supply chain.
The push comes amid growing concern about trade deals and immigration exhibited in the so-called Brexit vote and the U.S. presidential campaign.
We have to call this mentality what it is: a threat to the values that we profess.
The speech was met by chants of 4 more years by Canadian lawmakers. Dave.
Jared Trump says he'd tear up trade deals like the TPP,
which has not yet been ratified and which is a total disaster.
A Fox News poll has the presumptive Republican nominee trailing Democrat Hillary Clinton 44 to 38%. They're hunting a grizzly in Montana after a bear attacked and killed a man, knocking him off his mountain bike on a trail just outside Glacier National Park. Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
Clear skies, 65 degrees, 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. After a day of closed-door negotiating, it appears a budget deal, a stopgap measure, and a school funding bill will apply to ongoing votes that could happen later today. AM 560 reports on the movement in Springfield between the governor's office and Democrats in the General Assembly.
While lawmakers cooled their heels, the 4 legislative leaders and the governor put together a deal to fund basic state services until after the election. As those talks were going on, Mayor Emanuel called for parity for Chicago school students.
The children of the city of Chicago are worthy of a state that is a world-class state, not being dead last in funding for public school education.
It appears Emanuel will get some of what he wants. The school funding part of the deal brings new money to districts with poor kids and allows the city to raise property taxes to fund teacher pensions. Passage would avoid a partial government shutdown as soon as Friday. David Stewart, Chicago.
A man is dead, shot on Chicago's near north side. The victim gunned down last night in the 1100 block of North Clark. The shooter, according to police, fled in a vehicle. Federal judge has ruled against 4 Chicago police officers who contend they were transferred off Mayor Rahm Emanuel's security detail for political reasons. Mayor Emanuel joined Congressman Bobby Rush yesterday unveiling the Greater Chatham Initiative.
We have to do it because it's in the interest of the city of having a thriving neighborhoods throughout the city of Chicago.
Project is designed to try and bring jobs and business investments to Chicago's South Side. Village of Schaumburg has approved an 8% tax on short-term vacation rentals like those arranged on the internet through Airbnb. The ordinance even applies to tricked-out backyard tree houses that Schaumburg resident Dan Alexander has rented for the past 3 years. That treehouse includes a fireplace, air conditioning, Wi-Fi, and cable TV. Alexander's treehouse, you recall, prompted village officials to look into taxing short-term home-sharing rentals. Cubs 9-2 winners over the Reds. They open a 4-game set with the Mets tonight. James Shields, his first win in a White Sox uniform, 9-6 over the Twins. Michael Phelps will become the first American man to compete in 5 Olympics. The 18-time gold medalist won the 200-meter butterfly at the U.S. Olympic trials in swimming in Omaha to qualify for Rio. If you've got some time tonight, watch the 100-meter freestyle. 2 Illinois swimmers, Ryan Held of Springfield and Connor Dwyer of Winnetka, will be battling for Olympic spots. The news, a service of Cici's Pizza. Can you believe it? Cici's now has 3 stuffed crust pizzas, original pepperoni, new pretzel, and new bacon stuff. Try them all and your other Cici's favorites for $5 and change. CC's Buffet just got better. Believe it. 6:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager believes the GOP is missing a huge opportunity.
That has been the great failure of the Republican Party, not to talk about the damage the left does. They talk about individuals, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, doesn't mean a thing. If you support the left, you are supporting the damaging, perhaps irreparably, of the society. I know you mean well, and it doesn't matter.
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Raise your hand if you think you know what identity theft is. Just kidding. This is a radio commercial. We can't tell if your hand is up. But we can tell you that if you think identity theft is when someone adds charges to your credit card, you're only partially right. Identity theft is when someone pretends to be you, to open new accounts in your name, or any number of other bad things. That's where LifeLock can help. We use proprietary technology to detect and alert you to a whole range of identity threats. And if you have a problem, our U.S.-based team of specialists will work to fix it. You'll get more protection with LifeLock than you get from free credit monitoring alone. Obviously, no one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses, but LifeLock is the best identity theft protection available. Join LifeLock right now and get a special 15% discount off your first year. Visit LifeLock.com and use promo code 15OFF. That's 15 off to take advantage of an incredible 15% discount off your first year. Act now. Offer ends July 3rd. Go to LifeLock.com and enter promo code 15OFF. LifeLock.
6:06 in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. The latest on the roads this morning with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The westbound side of the Chicago Skyway remains closed from 87th to Stony Island after an overnight tank truck crash at Fuelsville. Traffic is forced off the Skyway at 87th. There are delays approaching the area. The Edens is fine inbound Kennedy. Got a 2-minute delay from the River Road toll to Canfield. Outbound still good. Mount Eisenhower delays start at Wolf Road, 40 minutes. Thorndale to downtown. Outbound fine at 29. Stevenson is heavy. From 355 to Lakeshore Drive, it's an hour. 45 minutes from the Tri-State. Outbound clear. Ryan, 25 minutes. 95th to downtown. There was an earlier crash at 51st. Bishop Ford and I-57, both 35 minutes. I-80 to the merge. Traffic Service of Account Temps. Do you need accounting and finance professionals for long-term or recurring projects? If you prefer the same professional to handle your project through its duration, Account Temps Salaried Professional Service may be the solution. Call today or visit AccountTemps.com. Account Temps, a Robert Half company. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today, partly sunny, high 81. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a shower or thunderstorm, low 60. Intervals of clouds and sunshine for tomorrow with a high of 73. Patchy clouds at night, low 56. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
61 at O'Hare. Next news at 6:30, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by The Lou Bridges Show. Get foreclosure defense solutions that may save your home. Saturday mornings at 8 on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. Welcome to your Thursday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
So I would just advise everybody be careful about suddenly attributing to whoever pops up at a time of economic anxiety the label that they're populists.
First, we heard the gunfire. After, we heard the screamings. And everybody started running. After 1 minute was the explosion.
It would be surprising to me that ISIL is not trying to hit us, both in the region as well as in our homeland.
ISIS is looking strong. They look like they're winning. We have to give them a big, fat, ugly defeat. We have to defeat them fast.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So President Obama, a little powwow with President Nieto of Mexico, and President Trudeau of Canada yesterday.
Did you see the
talk a little trade
handshake? The Three Amigo handshake. Oh, this is why our enemies think they can defeat us. It was so bizarre. They were intertwining their hands like a crossover, like the crisscross. You know, remember in Zoom, the little crisscross you have? And they were trying to be the Three Amigos.
Did they then put their hands akimbo on their waist, turn to the right, cough, and thrust their pelvis forward like in the Three Amigos with Martin Short, Steve Martin, and Chevy Chase?
No, but
because that would have been good. I would like to see that.
Wherever there is injustice, you will find us.
Wherever there is suffering, we'll be there.
Wherever liberty is threatened, you will find
the Three Amigos.
Yeah.
If they asked them to do that, they probably would have.
Was it like Dusty Roads and Happy Trails and what
no,
were the
it was
names?
just weird. You'll see it. It's going to go viral pretty quickly here because it's kind of uncomfortable to watch.
I may go watch the Three Amigos again this afternoon just because now I've been reminded of that movie. So they had a little powwow, the handshake, and they did their, little show that we just described. And then President Obama took to a rather interesting rant on populism and who's a legitimate populist and who is not. And it's interesting because it starts from the premise that populism is a good thing. And I suppose in the era of Trump and Sanders and Obama, in other words, populist demagogues, maybe we need to get our terminology corrected. I know the media doesn't understand these terms. They just rinse and repeat them because somebody else said them. But do we all understand the difference between populism and, say, conservatism? They're not the same. And the populist brand of conservatism is not reliable because, as history is replete with examples, populism tends to be susceptible to this very demagoguery. In point of fact, if you've read Aristotle's Politics, which I know you have, Amy, and
several times,
and I think you read it in the original Greek, if I'm not mistaken.
Exactly.
So that's going back to 350 BC. Aristotle warned about demagogues. He was talking about tyranny growing out of the most immature type of democracy, one in which demagogues and other politicians fail to recognize the direction to which democracy tends. He warned against these righteous winds that blow in the body politic because he understood that people are prone to think that the fact they are all born equally free means that they are all equal in terms of expected outcomes. And so populism at its core is the politics of grievance. Conservatism at its core, properly executed, is a philosophy of governance, how a free society should be ordered. I mean, but populism, understand this, is the kind of idea that there's this group of people, the kind of the electorate is pitted against a small group of elites who are depriving them of their rights, property, opportunities, right? So it's kind of a homogeneous population against an elite, a defined enemy, the politics of grievance, but not necessarily a philosophy of governance undergirding it all. And that's a very different thing. So when President Obama rallies to the defense of populism, it's a tell. And it's a tell that he's a populist demagogue who's actually in bed with the big government elites. And when we talk about elites, even in the context of Trump, I think we should start expanding the term to be big government elites, because there are people in academia and media and entertainment and politics who do not share the big government philosophy of the wide swath of elites. So let's distinguish them and let's talk about big government elites. But listen to President Obama, without invoking the name Trump, chiding him about who's a real populist and who isn't.
So I would just advise everybody be careful about suddenly attributing to whoever pops up at a time of economic anxiety the label that they're populist. Where have they been? Have they been on the front lines working on behalf of working people? Have they been carrying the laboring order to open up opportunity for more people? Now, there are people like Bernie Sanders who I think genuinely deserve the title.
Yeah, that's supposed to be an honor because he's a demagogue. And as I've said before, hope and change is 3 words that punctuated a demagogue in 2008. Make America Great, 3 words that punctuated demagogue in 2016. Now, I think the policy choices will be different from the president and the future president. But let's understand the difference between the two. And so you can say Trump is better than Clinton, and we've got Supreme Court appointments at stake, and we've got constitutional rights like our Second Amendment rights, frankly, even many of our First Amendment rights at stake. And I would agree with that. And you can say Trump is the better choice. He's the lesser evil. He's the taller midget. Okay. But understand what we're getting. Don't delude yourself into thinking that someone who embraces populism as a worldview, as a way to govern a free society, to set the rules forward for a free society, is the same thing as somebody that is steeped in conservative philosophy that truly understands the concepts of free minds and free markets, the derivation of our constitutional rights, and is going to act in furtherance of that philosophical grounding. Those are very, very different things. So you can vote for Trump, but don't delude yourself into thinking you're getting something other than what you're going to get. Candace and DuPage.
Dan, I was going to say something else, but here I have a question for you. Can you be a conservative and a nationalist as well? Because Judge Jeanine says she's a nationalist, and I think the two are, can be together, but I don't know. I want to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I mean, yes, you could. I mean, I assume when someone like that says she's a nationalist, she means she's a patriot. She's, for this idea of America as well as protecting this landmass called America and the people called Americans. So if that's if that's her definition, I mean, the term nationalist has a negative connotation because it's now so often associated with xenophobia. And I don't think it has to be, and I don't think Pirro means it that way, but that's how I would answer that question.
Okay. Now my other question is, do you think that Obama is also a Muslim populist because he's always defending them and never defending us?
No, I'm going to take President Obama at his word that he's a Christian. That's what he says he is. So I'm taking. Well,
but
no,
don't you think he has Muslim sympathies?
I'm done with. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing the I know what you really are. We have no evidence to support that. We have evidence to. No, we don't. We don't actually. And conservatives and Republicans are doing themselves a disservice and doing the party a disservice when they obsess about this. It's real simple. I am going to judge you by what you do. I'll take you at your word what you say, but I'm going to judge you by what you do. So do I think that he thinks America is exceptional, just like Norway is exceptional, just like Denmark is exceptional? Yes, because those were his words. And do I think based on his actions and his policy choices, he is somebody that thinks America has much to apologize for to the rest of the world, including the Muslim world? Yes, I do. And do I think he's wrong on both of those scores? Yes, I do. But you can have that conversation without getting into what his faith tradition is versus what he says it is. Take him at face value. He says he's a Christian. Fine. Now let's talk about what you've actually said and what you've actually done. Thanks for the call, Candace. Thanks for the call, Candace. Appreciate it. Ron on the South Side.
Hey, good morning, Dan. Hey, Dan, regarding populism and governance, all you got to do is look at Pat Quinn. That was his claim to fame, that he was some kind of populist, and he couldn't govern himself out his way out of a paper bag. But speaking of Pat Quinn, recently he was talking about the city needs term limits. That may not necessarily be so, because I think citizens, when they know how to get rid of somebody like him, we didn't need term limits. We knew that, look, he was a buffoon, and we got rid of him. We didn't need term limits. So that's my comment. Have a good day.
Thanks, Ron. Fred on the North Side.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you're confused with Bernie Sanders. He wasn't preaching populism. What he said was realism. And you could change your website to Upstream Against Reality. Thank you.
Devastating, Fred. Here's the thing, Fred. I didn't say Bernie Sanders was a populist. The president that you support, President Obama, did yesterday. So you can get the crap out of your ears so you actually hear what is said rather than just waiting for your turn to offer your lame jokes and your, frankly, philosophical illiteracy. The definition of populism is the textbook definition. Go get a Poli-Sci 101 book and look it up, you mope. And if you don't want to do that, all you have to do is hear what the president says, which is Bernie Sanders deserves the title populism. And he does, because he's a socialist, demagogue, populist. That's what Bernie Sanders is. Have a good day, Fred.
And I thought my jokes were bad.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Breaking news in the Turkey terrorist attack. Officials have said that they've detained 22 people, and they have discovered who carried out Tuesday's shootings. More information coming up. But first, here's your forecast. Plenty of sunshine today, a high of 81 degrees. Tonight, a shower or thunderstorm. And then tomorrow, mostly sunny skies, a high of 73. Travel times, here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Amy. The Chicago Skyway remains closed westbound from 87th to Stony Island after an overnight truck crash and fuel leak. Old Mill Creek, there's a medical emergency at 45 and Stern School Road. The Edens is 21 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 19. The Kennedy, 22 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 21. The Ike, 45 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, outbound 33. Stevenson, an hour, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. There was an earlier crash at 51st, so I-57 is heavy. 35 minutes, I-80 to the merge. Bishop Ford, 45. Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
Oh, well, guess what? My Pillow, we still have the 2 for the price of 1 offer. Buy 1 pillow, get 1 free. Keep 1 for yourself, give 1 as a gift. And now's the time to do it, because most people don't know that you should change pillows every 2 years. Why? Because pillows absorb dead skin, dirt, skin oils, dust mites that can cause allergies, acne, asthma, and who knows what else. And you really deserve a washable My Pillow. It has a 10-year warranty. And again, it's a great health investment. Best of all, I know you'll sleep better. I do. That's why My Pillow is the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation. So visit mypillow.com, type Amy in the promo code 2 pillows for the price of 1, or you can call the 800 number, 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201, or online at mypillow.com.
Did you know that if you have mutual funds in your IRA, 401k, or investment accounts, that according to Forbes magazine, you could be paying as much as 3.17% in hidden fees every single year? 3.17% may not sound like much, but over 10 years, it's costing you 32%, whether your fund is up or down. Hi, it's Tom Fortino of the Alpha Wealth Group in Chicago and host of the Alpha Wealth Hour on AM 560. This is just one of the reasons I hate mutual funds, and you should too. You may not know this, but you have far more investment options today without the excessive fees. Learn what they are in my free report, The Truth Behind Mutual Funds. What you learn may shock you. To get your free report, The Truth Behind Mutual Funds, call 630-519-4742. There's no obligation. That's 630-519-4742.
Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Wealth Advisors, Inc.
What's the scariest thing about going to the dentist? Opening your mouth or opening your wallet? Because just a simple cleaning can cost $100, and things like root canals can cost you hundreds more. If you don't have dental insurance to help, you should give Physicians Mutual Insurance Company a call. 1-800-400-0067. This isn't a discount plan or preventive-only coverage. This is real dental insurance that helps pay for checkups right away. So you can call today and get your teeth cleaned tomorrow. Plus, it helps cover the more expensive procedures you might need down the road. Fillings, crowns, bridges, even costly dentures. There's no deductible and no annual maximum. Your acceptance is guaranteed for one of these insurance policies, even if you're retired or on Medicare. There are no networks, so you can choose any dentist you'd like. That's right, any dentist you want. Call in the next 10 minutes and we'll rush you a free information kit with all the details. 1-800-400-0067. That's 1-800-400-0067. 1-800-400-0067.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues right now. And make sure to join me, Sean Hannity, this afternoon starting at 2, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
All right, so we have competing sources saying different things. CNN saying that 22 people are now being detained 9 taken into custody in Istanbul, 9 others, 13, I'm sorry, from Istanbul, and 9 others from this coastal city of Izmir. But the big news is that Turkey, they say, has determined that the attackers who carried out Tuesday's shootings and suicide bombings were from Russia, Uzbekistan, and Kyrgyzstan. Excuse.
Yeah, and Fox saying they had connections too, so there's a bit of conflict in the reporting. But actually, John Kirby, State Department flack, is speaking on the topic, so we'll effort that audio and see what he has to say. Maybe there's new information that confirms, are these Chechen separatists or Muslims? You recall Beslan, the unbelievable, horrific terrorist attack
at school.
Murdered more than 200
But
children.
did you see the video of one of the bombers, the suicide bomber? He was wearing a winter jacket in the summertime. First clue. I mean, he might be hiding something underneath there. But 2 of them went on top. One went down in the baggage claim area. Remember, the police officer shot him down, and that guy's being praised as a hero. His name is Durnum, and he was shot, and he was able to survive. I thought for sure that he died in the blast because you can see, the guys reaching for the cord on his suicide vest and blows it up. But that police officer was able to get out and survive, and he sustained gunshot wounds because he had a shootout with him first, and he received some bullets, so he's alive, so that's good.
In other news, when you think the government should be focused on these threats like Islamic terrorism, there's many things, though, the government focuses on, and many kind of vestigial cabinet departments with many, many things to do. Let me introduce you to somebody you don't hear from very much, and thanks goodness for that. She's the Department of the Interior Secretary, Sally Jewell. She was at a Hispanic entrepreneurship conference the other day, and she talked about how the Department of Interior is America's storyteller.
Oh, it is?
Mm-hmm. Didn't you know?
Remember when Bruce Babbitt was in charge of it? That was decades ago.
Yeah.
So Sally Jewell's at the helm now?
She's a modern-day Ernest Hemingway. And this is the story that Sally Jewell wants to tell.
We are, through the National Park Service, largely America's storyteller. And yet if you drive around Washington, D.C., in every circle and every square, you generally see a bronze white guy, sometimes on a horse, sometimes not. You have to work really hard. Like in front of the Indian Embassy, you'll find Mahatma Gandhi. There's a handful of women, maybe, if you look really hard, sprinkled around the city. But there are very few places and memorials that tell the story of the rich diversity that has made this country great. And that is something that we have been working very diligently to do.
Mm-hmm.
Is she trying to keep her job or define a position for the Department of Interior?
These are
to have a future with the Department of the Interior?
No, this was about rewriting American history and dispensing with those old white guys who provided or produced the founding documents of our representative republic and heroes from the Revolutionary War and such, Civil War. This is about telling a stylized version of history where diversity is the ultimate good as opposed to the guiding principles being the ultimate of our free society being the ultimate good, like liberty and
and you can't rewrite history.
God-given rights and so forth. Well,
there's some diversity. I mean, the Stonewall bar in New York is now a national monument.
Yeah,
there's some diversity, and guess this Valerie Jarrett's going to participate in the dedication ceremony. I know that might shock you.
Listening to Sally Jewell reminded me of this interview from about 10 years ago that Morgan Freeman gave Mike Wallace on 60 Minutes, and he had Mike Wallace totally flummoxed.
Oh, really?
Because this was, and it shows you this is how long it's been going on, and so you just get more and more virulent strains the longer you allow the racial, gender, PC politics to continue unabated, which we have. Morgan Freeman asked about Black History Month.
Black History Month you find ridiculous. Why? You're going to relegate my history to a month? Oh, come on. What do you do with yours? Which month is White History Month? No, come on, tell me. Well,
Dub.
I'm Jewish. Okay, which month is Jewish History Month? There isn't one. Oh, why not? Yeah. Do you want one? No. I don't either. I don't want a Black History Month. Black history is American history.
How are we going to get rid of racism until...
Stop talking about it. I'm going to stop calling you a white man.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man. I know you as Mike Wallace. You know me as Morgan Freeman. You want to say, well, I know this white guy named Mike Wallace. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I know what you're saying, and I wish Morgan Freeman was the Interior Secretary.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
I have actually been on Balance of Nature for a year now. I have MS, and I recently had an MRI. This is the first year that I've had a stable MRI, so I'm thrilled. When I have an MRI with MS, usually there are glowing spots that come through, which is damage on the nerves in my brain and my spinal cord, and when they're glowing, it means they're active. And then my last MRI, they pulled it up, and I honestly couldn't believe that it was my MRI. There was nothing glowing. And in fact, the dark spots were shrinking. They were healing. And the doctor actually said to me, I think we're in remission. I was so happy. I had no idea that that could be my reality.
Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Will a Utah transgender Senate candidate ask the residents of Utah to play Misty for her at 6:36?
And a former Navy SEAL now running for office has a one-of-a-kind bumper sticker. We'll tell you how to get your hands on it and what it is. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
We have sunshine this morning. And 65 degrees, winds are calm. Turkey rounding up suspects overnight, believed to have been involved in Tuesday's terror attack in Istanbul. At least 16 raids carried out overnight. At least a dozen, maybe as many as 24 ISIS suspects were arrested in 2 locations. Officials haven't publicly identified the 3 attackers who killed at least 42 and wounded hundreds more, but a senior Turkish official say they were nationals of Russia, Uzbekistan, and Kyrgyzstan. 30 have been killed in a suicide attack in Afghanistan. Afghan officials say a suicide bomber targeted a bus carrying police trainees. President Barack Obama is vowing to move very quickly to sign a last-minute rescue package for financially strapped Puerto Rico. The U.S. territory is $70 billion in debt. No one hurt when a roller coaster at an Oklahoma City amusement park stalled out and stranded 8, including 7 children, ages 7 to 15. They were stranded for just about an hour. Former London Mayor Boris Johnson will not be Britain's next prime minister. Johnson announcing this morning he will not be a candidate to succeed David Cameron after 3 other Conservative candidates announced their intent to run for prime minister earlier today. Flight attendants and United Airlines have a tentative agreement on a new contract. The deal would raise the pay of United's best-paid flight attendants by 31%. All flight attendants would see double-digit pay hikes. The deal includes profit-sharing, health care, and improved retirement plans. Amid allegations of favoritism, the Chicago Police Department has now filed misdemeanor DUI charges against a former number 3 man, John McNicholas, in the Chicago Fire Department. And it's a changing of the guard this week in Will County at the Forest Preserve Police Department. Chief Robert Murphy is retiring after 27 years on the job. Cubs 9-2 winners over the Reds. White Sox 9-6 winners over the Twins. And the news, a service of CiCi's Pizza. Can you believe it? CiCi's now has 3 stuffed crust pizzas, original pepperoni, new pretzel, and new bacon stuffed. Try them all and your other CiCi's favorites for $5 and change. The CiCi's buffet just got better. Believe it. 6:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity believes our government is not looking out for our well-being.
441 Syrian refugees have been admitted to the United States just since the Orlando attack. I've got a whole list here of names of people, all warning that ISIS will infiltrate the refugee population. Now, is that going to stop them from doing something stupid? Apparently not, because they're going forward with it.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Come to Cabela's 4th of July sale and gear up for Independence Day. Get 50% off a Caravan 10-foot by 10-foot shelter. Shop in-store at Hoffman Estates or Hammond or at Cabela's.com.
On AM 560 The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to focus in and talk about the big ideas behind the important issues. Enter Upstream Ideas online at upstream-ideas.com. Upstream Ideas, in partnership with the Illinois Policy Institute, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted beliefs. Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now at upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to help encourage you to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit freer, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com. When you hear the word chiller, the first thing that pops into your mind may be a frozen drink from your favorite convenience store. If you run a business or you're a maintenance engineer, you know of a different kind of chiller, the mechanical one that keeps you, your employees, and customers cool in the summer. And with this summer predicted to be hotter than normal, you don't want to get stuck on one of those 90-plus degree days with no AC. Better call Air Comfort and get your chiller tuned up and running at peak performance. A professional inspection can find small problems before they become big problems, and proper maintenance can keep your system from wasting energy and money. Air Comfort will make sure your equipment is clean and obstacle-free. And if your AC is about to or has stopped working, they can install temporary solutions to keep you cool while the long-term fixes are put in place. The key is preventative maintenance, and Air Comfort can help. Schedule a comprehensive assessment of your mechanical system today. Call 708-345-1900 or visit aircomfort.com. Air Comfort, providing the right climate for business since 1935.
637 Guardian Security Services Traffic Center time. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The westbound Skyway remains closed 87th to Stony Island after an overnight truck crash and fuel spill. The Edens inbound is heavy, Toohey to the junction. 25 minutes, Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 19. The Kennedy, 26 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 28. The Eisenhower is now 55 minutes, Thorndale to the post office, outbound it's 38 minutes. Stevenson, an hour and 5 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, it's clear outbound. Ryan, 26 minutes, 95th to downtown. Earlier crash at 51st has left heavy delays on I-57 to the Bishop Ford. 40 minutes, I-80 to the merge on 57, 47 minutes on the Ford Freeway. North on Tri-State's Low Archer to the Hinsdale Oasis and from the Reagan Tollway to the Grand Avenue Curve. Traffic is a service of Bank of America. Want cash back at Costco, Sam's Club, and BJ's today? Use your Bank Americard Cash Rewards Visa credit card and earn 2% cash back at wholesale clubs. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/getcashback. Traffic answers when you need them most. Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. AirComfort.com Weather Center time, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Nice climate today, partly sunny and 81. Shower or storm possible overnight, low 60. 63 officially at O'Hare. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is powered by CharlesEquipment.com, keeping the lights on through summer storms.
You want more than just the headlines? Find out what's going on and what it means with me, Dennis Prager, this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so, Amy, did you ever see the movie Play Misty for Me?
No, I did not.
Clint Eastwood, Donna Mills, the fetching Donna Mills, and I think Jessica Walter played Evelyn. Before there was Fatal Attraction, there was Play Misty for me.
Oh, okay. I
So-
understand the impact of
Yes.
Fatal Attraction.
Yeah, so
That's where they cooked the bunny, right?
Clint Eastwood,
Yeah.
interesting radio jock.
Oh,
he
in
plays
that
a
movie?
radio jock stalked by Evelyn.
Oh, who's your stalker? Do you have an Evelyn?
I
who's
have
stalking
I
you?
have liberal Fred from the North Side, but see, he does like the hit. He's a hit and run liberal. He just like makes
Uh-huh.
a quick comment and then runs away because he doesn't want to discuss. He's a little intimidated by me, and I understand that.
Oh, yes, we all are.
And so Play Misty for me. Why that came to mind is because apparently among transgender political candidates, Misty is the name of choice. We have two transgendered candidates running for Congress, one in the U.S. Senate in Utah, one in a House seat in Colorado. One is named Misty Snow.
Yeah, okay.
Misty Snow.
Misty Snow. Is it? Sounds like a
It's Dickensian.
stripper name.
It
If
kind
I
of
can
does.
say that, all right? Because
Yeah.
I just said it. It does. Misty Snow.
Interestingly,
that's the name of her first cat or first pet and the street she grew up on.
It's also interestingly the name of the band that I was in my fraternity in college.
yeah,
it was a Dan Fogelberg cover band.
Misty Snow.
Yeah.
What's your name? Your stripper name is Angel. Is your
Angel
cat's name
Wilson.
Angel Wilson?
Yeah.
Misty Snow, Angel Wilson.
Angel Wilson not running this cycle, maybe
you sure?
2018. So Misty Snow running Democrat nominee for Senate against Mike Lee. Mike Lee must be like, yes.
Yeah.
And
Bring it on, please.
Right. And then Misty Plowright is running as the Democrat nominee in a conservative House district in Colorado. Here's my question. Would you vote for a transgender candidate for public office, Republican or Democrat? Say Bruce Jenner, who's still not only identifies as a woman, but identifies as a Republican. Say he was running.
I prefer to call her Caitlin.
Oh, yeah. Well, say he was running against Nancy Pelosi in San Francisco. Would you vote? Would you vote for Caitlyn Jenner?
Oh, heck yeah.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Would you vote for a transgender candidate for public office?
If it was between Nancy Pelosi and Caitlyn Jenner.
That's a little unfair. It's two
Why?
transgender candidates.
Oh, will you stop it? It's
It's a
two
man,
people, baby. Two people who have been severely augmented running against each other.
Yes.
No, I would,
Yes.
again, vote for the party and not the person. And I believe that Caitlyn Jenner is a conservative, just a conservative in a different way. And I would vote for Caitlyn Jenner. Who would you vote for? You would vote for. You
Would I-
have a transgender friend who's a Republican.
Yes.
Pritzker, who made news recently because he's helping in transgender studies at Lurie Children's Hospital and made a nice donation.
Jennifer Pritzker was
Used to be-
served our country honorably 20 years in the National Guard. I think at least 20 years. Colonel, retired as a colonel, was James Colonel Jim Pritzker. Now Jennifer Pritzker. He had the surgery.
Oh, he did. When did he have the surgery?
This is a few years ago now.
Okay.
But
So it's official. He's Jennifer. I'm sorry. Jennifer.
that's right.
Still a colonel? Colonel Jennifer Pritzker?
You don't lose your 20 years of service because you change your
I don't
gender
know. I mean-
identification. No,
Okay.
he served the country honorably. That's not the issue, though. The issue is public office. Would I vote for a transgender candidate for public office?
Could you? You know I could. I'm
I would have the
wishy-washy moderate Republican.
I would have
so-
the capacity to. I would be able to. I physically can do it.
I know physically you can
Yes.
do it, Dan, but do you want to do it?
No. I'm not going to tell you.
You're such
Craig on the
such
Northwest
a
side.
prude.
Yeah, hi
That's
guys.
tease.
You're a
I would
prude.
not vote for Misty/Caitlyn, and if they were in Chicago, in particular with Caitlyn/Bruce, I'd try to have him kicked off the ballot for not using his proper name.
Why would you not vote for a transgender candidate?
I don't know. I just don't think it bodes well for
Okay.
things in general.
All right. Thanks, Greg.
For things in general.
Well, I think there's some.
Guys, come on. You
I
got to
think that-
vote for the party, not the person.
Yeah, I think that there are limits to that. There are limits to that. at least for me. Mike on the north side.
I'm making you vote.
Mm-mm.
Yes.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for taking my call.
Hey, Mike.
Why would I vote for a transgender living in Chicago? Aren't all Democrats transgender? They say one thing, and then they flip-flop, and when they get elected, they just tax and spend, borrow and spend. Haven't we seen enough of these people that can't decide what they want to be?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Thanks for the call, Mike. Right. They can't. Well, I guess to some extent, they've decided at a certain point, although we, of course, have examples of people that decide they're trapped in the wrong body that want to go back to that body. That has also occurred. I go back to say, here's the trouble I have with this.
Yeah, let's discuss.
Well, the trouble I have with this is based on the medical evidence and based in that it's a mental illness. And it's a manifestation of mental illness, that these are unhappy people, and frankly, a unbelievably high percentage of them become more unhappy after they transition to something else, because it turns out that wasn't really the answer to their unhappiness. And so when the research from Johns Hopkins University and elsewhere suggests that I'm not doing anybody any favors by celebrating those decisions. Respect people's choices. You can tolerate, be tolerant of other people, of course. Treat people like anybody else, of course. But recognize what the underlying problems are, and are you actually contributing to the problem and the unhappiness and the desperation, or by celebrating, are you somehow enhancing it and making things better? I think the evidence suggests that you're not making things better.
Well, have you asked your friend Jennifer if she's happier, or does she seem happier?
I have not had that conversation.
Because you don't want to go there.
Mike in Stone Park.
Hey, good morning. Hey, you know what? I don't think I could vote for Bruce Caitlin or it, because it has not made a commitment either way as to what gender it wants to be. And I think in office it would be about as committal as Mark Kirk.
Well, what if?
Well, regardless, you have to wait a year
What
before
if-
you can get the operation.
Yeah,
You
but
go
so-
through
so-
psychology testing for 1 year.
So we're doing a hypothetical here. Caitlyn
Yeah.
Jenner is not running for office, as far as I know. But what if Bruce Jenner went through with the surgery and made that commitment? Does that change your opinion, Mike?
Yeah. Now you've committed to something.
All right.
But to be in the middle and on the fence, so to speak, that just seems that would go to their mental condition.
All right, thanks for the
It's
call,
a
Mike.
transitioning process.
Women to the left of me, men to the right, stuck in the middle with Caitlyn.
Hey, one person you might want to vote for, they have this gubernatorial seat that's open in Missouri. There's
Yeah.
a former Navy SEAL who has a new ISIS or a new bumper sticker, and it says on it, ISIS hunting permit 2016, and the sticker expires, quote, when we defeat this evil. So it's a great sticker. He's selling them for $10 each, and he's also seeking a $100 donation.
I like it. It'd be a hell of a lot better than Jay Nixon. I know that just from the bumper sticker. Dennis in Crystal Lake.
Hey, how's it going, Dan?
Hey.
Hey, I'll tell you what what loser would vote for a transgender anything? I would take a trans bestiality person, because these people don't even know what they are inside their body or what kind of genitals they want. I don't want them to make laws or whatever. They're flip-flopping commandos.
Thanks for the call, Dennis, I think. George and Moni.
Hey, Dan, I think you touched on it. It's a mental illness thing, but I think this was handled by Curly of the Three Stooges years ago.
Mm-hmm.
When my brother thinks he's a chicken. What are we going to do about it? Nothing. We need the eggs.
Thanks for the call, George. Is there no problem that Curly from the Three Stooges can't solve?
So-called hot-looking broads.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
What to wear at Wimbledon? Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. Oh, naughty, naughty, naughty. Ladies, please. Today it's going to be mostly sunny skies, a high of 81 degrees. Then tonight, mostly cloudy with a shower or thunderstorm, a low of 60 degrees. We could use some rain, that's for sure. And then tomorrow, Friday, plenty of sunshine, a few high clouds, and a lot cooler, a high only of 73, and of course, cooler by the lake. Now let's get into the traffic center. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. In Bensonville, traffic is jammed around Thorndale and 83 where traffic lights are malfunctioning. Chicago Skyway still closed westbound 87th to Stony Island after an overnight truck crash and fuel spill. The Edens is 25 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 26. Kennedy, 36 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 28. The Eisenhower, 55 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, it's 38 outbound. The Stevenson is an hour and 10 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive, 55 minutes from the Tri-State. Outbound 38 minutes to 355. Ryan, 26 minutes. 95th to downtown. I-57, 35 minutes. I-80 to the Merge. Bishop Ford, 50. North on Tri-State. So Archer to the Hinsdale Oasis, and from the Reagan Tollway to the Grand Avenue Curve. The other tollways have mild delays. Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
Oh, right, guy.
I'm Lou Dobbs. President Obama touting so-called free trade, Walmart stepping up its fight against Amazon, and you're using media more, a lot more. Those stories next.
Bill Bennett here to tell you about Augusta Precious Metals. What if you could store your IRA or 401k where you can see, touch, and hold it in person in the form of physical gold and silver coins? I know I would, and you can't do that with stocks. With the Augusta Gold and Silver IRA, you can transfer retirement savings into physical coins and store them where you can actually see them. Free shipping, zero management fees, and Augusta pays all upfront costs. Getting started is absolutely free. Rated A+ with the Better Business Bureau, enjoys a 98% five-star customer satisfaction rating with TrustLink.org. Trust Augusta. Call toll-free 1-855-222-6993 now for your free guide to Augusta Gold IRAs. Call toll-free 1-855-222-6993. That's 1-855-222-6993 or visit AugustaPreciousMetals.com.
President Obama says he'll push a trans-Pacific trade bill stuck in Congress, the TPP, opposed by Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. The Nielsen Company reports during the first 3 months of this year, Americans spent an average of 10 hours and 39 minutes each and every day with their smartphones, tablets, TV, radio, computers, and video games. That's up an hour a day. Walmart offering a free month-long trial on its 2-day unlimited shipping service. Walmart responding to Amazon's Prime Day that it says is bigger than Black Friday. And investors will be hearing from James Bullard today, president of the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. He went all the way to London to talk to the Society of Business Economists. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest-growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
If you think all banks are the same, it's time to think about Signature Bank Chicago. I'm Pete Olson, head of commercial banking at Signature Bank, where the people who own the bank operate the bank. Not in an abstract way, but in the same hands-on, personalized way that you run your business. We don't rely on a legion of business developers to find new relationships. We don't trust an outsourced phone bank to address your customer service needs, and we don't delegate decision-making to some anonymous credit committee that you'll never meet. We do everything we can to help you succeed, because if you don't succeed, we don't succeed. Call us today to see the Signature Bank difference.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hi, I'm Carl Deichler, the CEO of Beachbody, and I'm here to tell you about an amazing new way you can start losing weight for free right now. You've probably seen our workout DVDs on TV like P90X, Insanity, and 21 Day Fix. We just launched a beta trial of our new digital video platform, Beachbody On Demand. So while we're testing out this new digital video service, I'm inviting you to use it for free for 30 days. That means you can lose 10 pounds, 20 pounds, even 30 pounds without paying a dime. Text the word TRIAL to 303030, and you can do 30 days of P90X, Insanity, or any of over 400 workouts for free. Now here's the catch. In return, all I ask is you let us know what you think of the service so we can make Beachbody On Demand the best fitness and weight loss site ever created. Just text TRIAL to 303030 and get started for free right now. Again, text TRIAL to 303030.
Message and data rates may apply. Membership fees apply after 30-day free trial. Cancel anytime.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan, I know you'll love this story. Do you watch Wimbledon every summer?
I haven't watched it since Jimmy Connors and John McEnroe were playing.
Or Bjorn Borg. You want to go
Oh,
back
I remember
that far?
Bjorn Borg, sure.
Remember with the wooden tennis racket?
Vitas Gerulaitis.
Well, some heads were turning at Wimbledon yesterday
Mats
because...
Wilander.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Topper. Because the women were playing in the qualifying finals, and a lot of ladies, you have to wear all white at Wimbledon. That's one of the rules. And there's also a decency code.
Racist.
And apparently things weren't so decent yesterday because they have this new baby doll dress. It's white, of course. And it flares out at the end. There's really no waist, no tightness. So when these girls were serving and, doing what they do, volleying at the net, grunting.
Okay, Monica Seles.
It flipped up and you could see their midriffs. And in one case,
They have shorts
almost
on, though, underneath, right?
Yeah, but Spanx. I don't know if those are shorts, but people
I don't
were
know what those are, so I don't know
horrified.
either.
They were horrified at what they were seeing. So Nike, in the middle of play, sent out an urgent message.
Oh, gosh.
Marked very important, asked players for a small change to your dresses. So they had a Nike tailor there that came in and sewed up their dresses. Other players put a shirt on top of their dress to keep it in because they didn't want their skin
How did Roger
exposed.
Federer look in it?
He looked fantastic.
What about Rafael Nadal?
So hot. I couldn't control myself.
I looked at this picture of the Nike dress, and I got to say, it is...
It looked great with heels?
Yes, that. And also, it is much less offensive to me than remembering Jimmy Connors and John McEnroe in those short shorts. I'll tell you that.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Some will travel to the extreme corners of the earth in search of inner peace, but you don't have to travel halfway around the world to discover the benefits of the Pink Himalayan Salt Cave. Heal your mind and body close to home in downtown LaGrange at Primal Ocean Salt Cave. For years, the benefits from salt caves have ranged from respiratory improvement to the healings of skin conditions. Your journey to wellness begins when you step into the Pink Himalayan Salt Cave and relax under an illusion of a star-filled night sky. Primal Ocean Salt Cave also offers other unique spa treatments. Experience the weightlessness of floating in the aquascape bed. Feel the deep relaxation of an aqua massage and feel renewed with an ionic detox foot bath. Relax, renew, and recharge. Call Karen or Peggy at the Primal Ocean Salt Cave in LaGrange to make your appointment today at 708-482-2505. That's 708-482-2505. Or take a virtual tour at primaloceansaltcave.com.
Hey, like all parents, I'm always looking for something fun to do with my boys, and I have a great suggestion, Donnelly's Wild West Town. It's a Western theme park just a short drive from Chicago and Union, Illinois. It's open every day now from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., and one admission fee includes everything. Really, it's a great time you can have together, and there is nothing else like it. Trust me. There's rides, attractions. Kids will pan for gold for hours. You can shoot slingshots. There's a Wild West show that's awesome. There's a museum, a petting zoo, and great food, and a lot more. I love the train ride. I just take the little choo-choo around the park all day long. Parents and grandparents, kids, everyone enjoys a day together at Donnelly's Wild West Town. It's interactive family fun, so check out the details at wildwesttown.com. That's wildwesttown.com. And it's a great outing for groups like daycares, church groups, really anybody. Wild West Town open every day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Wild West Town. It's good old-fashioned family fun. Yeehaw!
Got to do with where choo-choo go.
I love my Catholic school. My teachers help me to succeed academically. In fact, students at the Catholic schools and the Joliet Diocese are ahead in every category academically, by 20 to 30 points compared to national norm. And 92% of 7th graders meet or exceed growth expectations in reading, language, math, science, and social studies.
You just heard my daughter talk about why she loves her Catholic school. And as a parent, I may not be able to control what is happening in our culture, but I can control how my children are educated. And I do that by sending them to a Catholic school where they have the moral foundation to make the right choices based on the teachings of the Catholic Church. If you want to provide your children with a moral compass to navigate our culture, consider sending him or her to a Catholic school.
Now you can join me at my school. Participating Catholic elementary schools in the Joliet Diocese, and in conjunction with the Catholic Education Foundation, are offering a $1,500 tuition transfer grant to any student who transfers from a public, private, charter, or homeschool. Restrictions apply. For more information, go to www.weteachmore.com.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk to counterterrorism expert Sebastian Gorka about the terrorist attacks in Istanbul and Afghanistan at 7:07.
And that secret meeting wasn't so secret when a TV camera was outside. Loretta Lynch and Bill Clinton had a 30-minute powwow. We'll have the details, but first, into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, a man shot and killed on Chicago's near north side. After a day of closed-door negotiations in Governor Rauner's office, there may be a budget deal. AM 560's David Stewart will lay out details for us. Cubs over the Reds, and the Sox rip the Twins on a partly sunny day. WIND's Chicago News Time is 7 o'clock.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. Another victim of Tuesday's terror attack in Turkey has died. It's now 43 killed in the shootings and bombings at Istanbul's airport. Fox's Jessica Gallagher is live in our Middle East Bureau.
Dave, the three terrorists who carried out the attack at Ataturk Airport on Tuesday were for Kyrgyzstan, Russia, and Uzbekistan, according to a senior Turkish official. This as 9 people in the coastal city of Izmir have been arrested on suspicion of being linked to ISIS. Turkey's state-run news agency says 13 others have been detained in Istanbul on suspicion of being linked to the airport attack. 4 of the Istanbul arrests are foreign nationals. No one has claimed responsibility for the violence, but Ankara believes ISIS is responsible. Dave.
Jessica, a Taliban suicide bomber hit a bus in Afghanistan full of police officer trainees. A terror attack killing at least 30. President Obama says he wants to dismantle terror networks. And while in Canada, also reiterated his support for our trade deals that Donald Trump wants to tear up.
We are going to go from the stupid people that don't know what's happening to people that are thriving again.
A new Fox News poll has the Republican trailing Democrat Hillary Clinton by 6 points nationally, but 58% of those surveyed think she's corrupt. More than 80% call him obnoxious and hot-headed. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Trump has lost support among Republicans recently. The poll shows he is doing well among evangelical Christians, gun owners, and men. Clinton is appealing more to women, African Americans, and voters under the age of 45. Voters are concerned about terrorism and gun laws. 40% believe the country would be safer with a temporary ban on Muslims entering the country. 59% support the idea of using profiling techniques to increase government surveillance of certain types of individuals. Dave.
Rachel, a grizzly bear went on the attack in Montana, knocking a man off his mountain bike, killing him on a trail just outside Glacier National Park, scaring visitors like this guy.
I'm out every morning jogging with my dog.
The victim was a law enforcement officer with the U.S. Forest Service. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Partly sunny and 65 degrees. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. On AM 560, The Answer, it's 7:02, and after a day of closed-door negotiations in Governor Rauner's office, it appears a budget deal that would keep the state operating through the end of the year and would open schools on time is at hand. We get details this morning from AM 560's David Stewart.
While lawmakers cooled their heels, the 4 legislative leaders and the governor put together a deal to fund basic state services until after the election. As those talks were going on, Mayor Emanuel called for parity for Chicago school students.
The children of the city of Chicago are worthy of a state that is a world-class state, not being dead last in funding for public school education.
It appears Emanuel will get some of what he wants. The school funding part of the deal brings new money to districts with poor kids and allows the city to raise property taxes to fund teacher pensions. Passage would avoid a partial government shutdown as soon as Friday. David Stewart, Chicago.
Some of the details in that tentative plan include a $485 million increase for elementary and secondary education. That's a chunk of the $235 million that Governor Bruce Rauner proposed, and a $250 million equity grant, of which $100 million goes to the Chicago Public Schools. A man is dead, shot on Chicago's near north side. Police tell us the victim was gunned down last night in the 1100 block of North Clark. An investigation underway after 2 were found dead in a west suburban Bensonville home. The bodies discovered yesterday while officers were conducting a well-being check on Indian Hill Drive. Teenagers will not be able to buy tobacco products in Chicago soon. New law goes into effect tomorrow, raising the legal age to purchase smokes to 21. And the Cook County Board, voting along racial lines, has decided to ask voters whether offices of county clerk and recorder of deeds should be consolidated. The vote 10-5, with the board's 4 white Republicans joining white and Latino Democrats in the majority. Opponents criticized the move as an attack on the current recorder of deeds, Karen Yarborough, who is black. Cubs cruise to a 9-2 win over the Reds. James Shield and the White Sox winners over the Twins, 9-6. Shields earning his first victory in a White Sox uniform. The news service of CiCi's Pizza. Can you believe it? CiCi's now has 3 stuffed crust pizzas. Original pepperoni, new pretzel, and new bacon stuffed. Try them all and your other CiCi's favorites for just $5 and change. The CiCi's buffet just got better. Believe it. 7:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The best conversations happen with a cigar in one hand and a fine drink in the other. Join Dennis Prager live in Chicago for Cigar Night, presented by Precision Payroll of America on Thursday, August 11th at the Bolingbrook Golf Club. Dennis will be joined by AM 560's Dan Proft for an evening of cigar smoking and good conversation. Tickets start at just $29 and include a cigar. Get your tickets at 560theanswer.com/cigar. Sponsored by Signature Bank and the Elmhurst Cigar House.
Raise your hand if you think you know what identity theft is. Just kidding. This is a radio commercial. We can't tell if your hand is up. But we can tell you that if you think identity theft is when someone adds charges to your credit card, you're only partially right. Identity theft is when someone pretends to be you, to open new accounts in your name, or any number of other bad things. That's where LifeLock can help. We use proprietary technology to detect and alert you to a whole range of identity threats. And if you have a problem, our US-based team of specialists will work to fix it. You'll get more protection with LifeLock than you get from free credit monitoring alone. Obviously, no one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses, but LifeLock is the best identity theft protection available. Join LifeLock right now and get a special 15% discount off your first year. Visit LifeLock.com and use promo code 15OFF. That's 15 off to take advantage of an incredible 15% discount off your first year. Act now. Offer ends July 3rd. Go to LifeLock.com and enter promo code 15OFF. LifeLock.
7:06, and in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center, here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The Chicago Skyway has reopened westbound between 87th and Stony Island after an overnight truck crash and diesel leak from a fuel tank. So everything is open again on the Skyway. Traffic is jammed in Bensonville at Thorndale and 83 due to traffic signal problems. Downtown Columbus is blocked Monroe to Roosevelt. This is along with closures of Congress and Jackson for Taste of Chicago setup. Eden's inbound. We see delays on the spur past Waukegan Road. And then it's some heavy Cicero to the junction. 25 minutes Lake Cook to Montrose outbound 30. Kennedy, 36 minutes. O'Hare to downtown outbound 35. The Eisenhower's a 57-minute drive. Thorndale to downtown outbound 45 minutes. Stevenson, an hour and 5 minutes. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive outbound 40 minutes. Ryan, 26 minutes. 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State slow 115th to 47th. And Roosevelt to the Grand Avenue curve. Veterans Memorial now slow from Boughton to the Reagan Tollway, Butterfield to St. Charles, and North Avenue to Army Trail. Stalled truck in the left center lane. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Providing the right climate for business since 1935. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Partial sunshine today with a high 81, then tonight becoming mostly cloudy with a shower or thunderstorm. Low 60. Tomorrow, clouds and sun, high 73. Patchy clouds tonight, low 56. Sun and patchy clouds for Saturday with a high of 77. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
63 at O'Hare, 65 along the lakefront. Next news at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by 1 Hour, together with Mike Rowe, encouraging you to choose licensed technicians to service your home. Call 1 Hour today, 855-1-HOUR.
Good morning. Welcome to your Thursday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
So I would just advise everybody to be careful about suddenly attributing to whoever pops up at a time of economic anxiety the label that they're populists.
First, we hear the gunfire. After, we hear the screamings. And everybody started running. After 1 minute was the explosion.
It would be surprising to me that ISIL is not trying to hit us, both in the region as well as in our homeland.
ISIS is looking strong. They look like they're winning. We have to give them a big, fat, ugly defeat. We have to defeat them fast.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So, updating the report on the 3 suicide bombers responsible for that atrocity in Istanbul at Ataturk Airport, 49 dead, 239 injured. There information being reported that the bombers, who apparently hail from Russia, however, traveled to Syria, that ISIS is involved, and that the bombers very likely came from Raqqa. So maybe Russian national,
right? Uzbekistan and
Kyrgyzstan.
Right. Those
Right.
are the 3
Russia,
countries.
Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, but that there is ISIS involvement. I guess that shouldn't come as a big surprise to anyone except David Axelrod. But Zuhdi Jasser, who's the president of the American Islamic Forum for Democracy, he testified just the other day before Ted Cruz's Judiciary Subcommittee in the Senate, and was on with Greta last night, reprising some of what he had to say. It's important because the question is, can we win this war against ISIS and against radical Islamic terror with simply drone strikes and conciliatory rhetoric? And Jasser addressed that.
What I testified about was, as a Muslim who loves my faith in this month of Ramadan, the reason I took time to come here and testify is there's actually nothing that demonizes us more than preventing reform from happening, preventing the reformists from acknowledging that we have a problem within the House of Islam. That's not Islamophobic. That's not bigoted. It's actually tough love, and that's what we need. And our government so far has been willfully negligent and blind, and has actually been helping the regimes around the world that want to look at Islam as having a PR problem.
Yeah, our friend of the show, Zuhdi Jasser, there, making a lot of sense, particularly given John Brennan's warnings, CIA Director John Brennan's warnings for this weekend.
Yeah, he warned everybody, to be vigilant and that it could possibly happen here.
It would be surprising to me that ISIL is not trying to hit us, both in the region as well as in our homeland. If anybody here believes that the U.S. homeland is hermetically sealed, and that the Daesh or ISIL would not consider that, I think I would guard against that.
I hope the president was listening. For more on this, we're now joined by our friend Dr. Sebastian Gorka, the best-selling author, latest book, Defeating Jihad, The Winnable War, counterterrorism expert. Sebastian, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
So the information that's coming out about the responsible parties and perhaps the network that is responsible for the attack in Istanbul the other day, any surprises there, particularly the fact that ISIS, if ISIS was involved, as is being reported, that they have not claimed credit?
No surprises. ISIS has been explicit, even in its English language internet publications. It has said that Ramadan is especially important for them. They wish to continue the attacks, bring the war to the infidel, and they've said we want to concentrate on high concentrations on unarmed civilians. So this is a pattern. This is a trend. We've seen the Paris attack. We saw the Brussels airport attack. We had the Christmas party in San Bernardino. Then we had Orlando. So this is the new tactic. They're building the caliphate in the Middle East, and they're bringing the fight to the infidel on the infidel's homeland.
But is it true that there's 10 times the rewards if you pull off an attack during Ramadan?
Well, there's a lot of propaganda and smoke and mirrors out there, but they have been very, very clear that Ramadan is especially important, and this holy month will accrue to you more rewards than would otherwise be the case. So, yes, that's one of their selling points.
Well, yesterday, interestingly, against the backdrop of what we're learning about the attack in Istanbul, yesterday, 250 ISIS fighters allegedly wiped off the planet by a drone strike outside Fallujah. And I guess one of the questions is, you hear these reports and different Taliban leaders, ISIS leaders, Al-Qaeda leaders killed by drone strikes over the years, and it seems like, it's reminiscent of Vietnam, where we're talking about body count rather than actually winning the war, that you just, they're like orcs. They're just more waves keep coming. And so is drone strikes a tactic in the larger war, or can it be a central part of the strategy, which seems to be from this regime?
Absolutely a tactic. This is one of the points I make in my book, Defeating Jihad. Body bags is a stupid metric of success in the Vietnam War, and it's not any smarter today. Why? Because you can kill a jihadi, and if 15 guys volunteer to replace him the next day, then what does that UAV become? It's become nothing more than a recruiting tool. These kinds of strikes are useful to keep the top-notch, the highest-ranking jihadis on the run, so they're not planning attacks. But it's not the way to win this war. In defeating jihad, I make the argument that we have to undermine, delegitimize the brand of jihad, the same way that Ronald Reagan delegitimized the ideology of communism during the Cold War. We have to make people not want to become jihadis. And unfortunately, right now, the jihadi lifestyle is far too popular, from the streets of Orlando to the streets of Istanbul, Paris, or Brussels.
But how do you suggest that we do that? I mean, I wish we could, stop some of the Twitter and things that are going on social media, but that would be against our first constitutional right to free speech and freedom of expression.
Well, the way we do it is we work with our allies who are most best positioned to do this. It's the Sunnis of the region who are, in fact, at greatest risk and who have died the most. So it's the Sunnis of Iraq, the Jordanians, the Egyptians. They have to be the face of this war. It shouldn't be us who are the face of this war, but our Sunni allies who unfortunately have been rejected in the last 7.5 years by this administration and feel betrayed. We have to use them as our proxies and support them to be the face of the kind of Islam that we wish to see be more popular around the world.
I want to pick up on the clip that we played from Dr. Zuhdi Jasser about this idea that Islam just has a PR problem. There was a woman, Yazidi woman, who had been enslaved by ISIS, who testified before Congress last week. And one of the points that she made was that, I understand that ISIS doesn't represent Islam, but let me suggest something else. It is problematic that none of the Islamic republics will say that ISIS doesn't represent Islam, that they will not formally reject ISIS. So in terms of the kind of battle of ideology, we don't have Islamic theocracies presenting any interest in joining the battle you say needs to be waged.
Yeah, we have a very large-scale problem here that we also, not only do we have the theocratic regimes not really make their voices heard, here in America, we have the White House saying that religion has nothing to do with this war. These are not the droids you're looking for, which is absolutely asinine. When the president of the most populous Arab nation in the world, President Fattah al-Sisi of Egypt, tells the clerics of the Al-Azhar, which is the Vatican of the Sunni Muslim world, gentlemen, we have to have a religious revolution in Islam because the jihadis are winning. Well, I think, he's a little bit more credible when he says this is a religious problem. And we're actually undermining these people when we say, no, this is about, Orlando is about suppressed homoerotic tendencies, and we just need love to win this war. The level of naivete and incompetence is really quite shocking.
And didn't Al-Qaeda just release a memo saying that if you're going to target anybody, target groups of whites so that the Americans don't mistake it as a hate crime?
Yeah, no, the jihadis just did this 2 days ago. They released a supplement to the Orlando atrocities saying, look, we want the American liberals to be clear here. This isn't about the LGBT community. This is about infidels. So the next time you go on an attack, make sure you're targeting, white heterosexuals, just so that the enemy gets the message. I mean, it's really quite absurd that the jihadis are now trying to school the liberal elite in Washington and in the media.
Unfortunately, the liberal elite in Washington and media are incorrigible. They won't even listen to the people they're flacking for or rationalizing out of existence. And Orlando, perhaps, is the most interesting case so far, with the FBI now saying to the obsessive narrative that he was on these dating sites and so on and so forth. Well, we don't have any evidence of that. A former lover came forward. Well, we can't verify anything he said. and then that just dissipates, and what you're left with is the overarching coverage in the wake of the Orlando massacre that it was, a complicated family situation and so forth.
Yeah, you need to take that logic to its final destination. And what it really means, quite shockingly, is that the people who make these statements that, as you say, are totally unfounded, they're actually doing their very, very best to make excuses for the perpetrator of the crime. A man has killed 49 fellow Americans. I don't care about their sexual preference. These are Americans. And then people are trying to explain it away, trying to find the hardship excuses for this individual. Eventually, they're going to make the perpetrator into the victim, and that is unconscionable. But that is the Alice in Wonderland fantasy world that is populated by the mainstream media and the liberal elite today.
Well, and just to further that point, what they're really going to, when they talked about the Orlando terrorists, conflicted feelings about his sexuality and all these other smokescreens, they're really trying to get to what the real cause of all of this is, and all of the ills of the world, Sebastian, and that's Christian bigotry. So when somebody who pledges allegiance to ISIS before he murders 49 people, what he's really saying is, I'm rebelling against Christian bigotry. I mean, this is essentially what the left is saying.
Yeah, it's Monty Python. It's absolutely true, and this is what I detail in Defeating Jihad. There's the reality that you live in, and I live in, and Amy lives in, and then there's the complete upside down world that is presented by our political masters. This man stopped in the middle of killing 49 Americans, called up the 911 dispatcher and said, I am doing this for Islam. I am doing this for the Islamic State. I am a jihadi. And what happens? The Attorney General, a cabinet member, decides to censor his words because they don't comport with the narrative coming out of the White House. Imagine if we did that during the Cold War or World War II, and somebody in the cabinet deleted the word Nazi from a Nazi cable. That person would be court-martialed. I mean, it's outrageous.
All right. He is Dr. Sebastian Gorka. He's the author of the new book, Defeating Jihad, The Winnable War. Sebastian, thanks again for joining us. Appreciate it.
Anytime. My pleasure.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up next, will he or won't he? DeCoach finally got the call from Trump. We'll have details. But first, here's your forecast. Plenty of sunshine right now. Just a gorgeous day, a high of 81. Tonight, a possible shower or thunderstorm, a low in the 60s. And tomorrow, for your Friday, it's going to be pleasant with some sun, a few high clouds. Chillier, a high of 73 degrees. Let's get those travel times. How's the Skyway? Here's Jim Telemonte.
Good news, Amy and Dan. The Skyway is open again entirely in both directions between 87th and Stony Island after an overnight truck crash and diesel leak from a fuel tank. 94 Kenosha County westbound or going north at Highway C. There's a right lane blockage due to a vehicle fire. The Edens is 25 minutes. Lake Hook to Montrose outbound 40. Stall at Tower Road on the right shoulder. The Kennedy 36 minutes. O'Hare to downtown outbound 40. The Eisenhower's 57 minutes from Thorndale to the Loop, outbound 45. Stevenson, an hour and 5 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 40 minutes. Ryan, 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound heavy, O'Plain to Atkinson. Northbound very slow, Cicero to 47th. And from the Cermak toll to the Grand Avenue curve, the other tollways have delays, especially the Veterans Memorial from Boughton most of the way to St. Charles and North Avenue to Army Trail. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
Last week, we announced our upcoming Cigar Night event with Dennis Prager and me, presented by Precision Payroll of America. Tickets have been on sale for a week, and we're about sold out. In fact, we've completely sold out of the premium VIP tickets, but we still have general admission tickets available for just $29. So join us at the Bolingbrook Golf Club on Thursday, August 11th. Enjoy a fine cigar, perhaps a mature libation, and engage in lively conversation with me and Dennis Prager. Check out the interviews I've done at upstream-ideas.com, including this week's with Steve Moore, Trump Economic Policy Advisor. for a taste of what this event will look like. Tickets are $29. Everyone who attends will have the chance to meet Dennis Prager and have him sign copies of his books. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/cigar. That's 560theanswer.com/cigar, or text the word cigar to 64636. Sponsored by Signature Bank and the Elmhurst Cigar House.
Hey, let me get right to the point. Thousands of listeners have bought MyPillows. If you're not one of them, why not? If for no other reason than you haven't changed your pillow in the last couple of years, now would be a great time. Your pillows absorb dead skin, dirt, skin oils, and dust mites that can cause allergies, acne, asthma, and who knows what else. You really deserve a washable MyPillow. It comes with a 10-year warranty, and it's a great health investment. Best of all, I know you'll sleep better. I do. MyPillow is the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation for good reason. Hey, visit MyPillow.com or call 1-800-489-0201. Use that promo code Joe for the 2-for-1 offer. Give one as a gift and keep the other one for you. Do it now, 1-800-489-0201 or online at mypillow.com. Promo code Joe, 1-800-489-0201.
On AM 560 The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to focus in and talk about the big ideas behind the important issues. Enter Upstream Ideas online at upstream-ideas.com. Upstream Ideas, in partnership with the Illinois Policy Institute, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted beliefs. Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now at upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to help encourage you to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit freer, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I had gout in both my knees, and it's gone.
Well, I'm pretty stupid. I should have ordered it 15 years ago. Best thing I ever got in my. It's the most effective product that I've ever bought in my life.
He had eczema on his hand, and it cracked for years. He did anything from doctor, every cream, everything. And 3 months on the veggies and fruit, it was gone.
They're just awesome. They keep asking me, what am I doing? I told them what I did with my cholesterol. I had the blood test, right? And it went down 100 points. 262, now it's 162. Everything is just perfect.
Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Call now, 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so Mike Ditka going to be at the RNC to speak on behalf of Trump or not?
Coach.
Pending.
Coach. Well, I was texting him all day yesterday, and he told me that Trump did finally call him because we knew he was going golfing. Well, at least I do. He told me he was golfing, but he'd call us on the way to the course. I'm like, all right. So he told us, though, that he was going to go if Donald Trump called him. And apparently now he said that that's not what he does. He says he doesn't travel much anymore, which I find hard to believe because he does have a home in Florida that he goes to often, but he also travels to Bristol, Connecticut to do the NFL Countdown show on Sundays in the fall. So this travel thing might be a little bit of an excuse.
Well, he said he did indicate that he would go to Cleveland, but he resisted the invitation to speak at the convention on behalf of Trump. And I wonder if maybe
what do you mean?
Trump could sweeten the pot a little bit to get him on the dais.
From what I've been hearing, my sources, there's no money offer yet. I mean, if Trump wants him to speak, and Trump made the phone call, and apparently the conversation, the cell connection dropped in the middle of the conversation before they got to end it. He should offer to take him on the Trump plane. What do they call it? Trump Air One? What do they call that thing?
Wow.
That nice 757, or maybe chopper him out there. Bring the Trump helicopter, pick him up on the landing pad.
We haven't got confirm on Bobby Knight, but Mike Tyson's spokesman says Tyson's not going to be anywhere near Cleveland during the week of the convention. So now Tyson's, both Iron Mikes are question marks.
Why would Mike Tyson say no?
I mean, that
was almost like
first of
an
all,
angry answer. He's not going to be nowhere near Cleveland. Just say he's not available. Why do you got to get angry?
I just want to make sure Rick Springfield is still going to be there, right? Because I'm not going if Rick Springfield isn't there.
He better be there.
By the way, here's something that's
amazing. Do you think he'll sign my T-shirt?
I think he will.
Oh, I can't wait.
You'll never watch that T-shirt again.
Never.
Here's something else that's amazing. Beyond the polls which are being reported today, this is not being reported in very many places, and it should be. Battleground state ad spending in June.
Mm-hmm.
Hillary Clinton, $26 million.
Oy.
Trump, 0. Total ad spending in battleground states to date, including reserve time. We're talking about Colorado, Florida, Iowa, North Carolina, New Hampshire, Nevada, Ohio, Virginia. Total battleground state ad spending. Clinton, $140 million. Trump, 0. Remember something, and it's frankly, it's amazing that he's still in a dead heat with that kind of disparity in spending, and he is in a dead heat, and I still think he's going to win. But if he doesn't, remember these numbers in summer when his campaign is disorganized and hers is not, because it's a small fraction of people who participate in primaries. There's a lot of people, yes, they know Trump and Clinton. They didn't vote in the primary. They don't know these details. They haven't been paying attention. And Clinton is getting a jump on him in terms of defining him before he defines her and imprints upon people what they should think about Hillary Clinton as they move to consideration of their vote in November. This is not good in terms of just the mechanics of running a winning campaign.
Polish sausage.
Tremendous.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper, hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
You know, if you're one of the people like me who has to deal with chronic pain, I would hope that you would go seek out Ken Candido. He is the person who has allowed me to walk. Sorry to get choked up a little bit, but without him, I wouldn't be able to walk. So thanks, Doc.
This is Dr. Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. We're serious players in the management of pain, and our team are national leaders, as well as being educators in the treatment of pain. We will work with you to diminish or eliminate your pain and help you get your life back. You know, there's a nationwide narcotics epidemic, and people are too quick to mask over chronic pain instead of looking for the cause and treating or eliminating the pain. Contact us. We will help you.
Go to mypainchicago.com. Call and make an appointment with some of the best pain people in the nation. mypainchicago.com. You or someone you know suffers in the suffering of chronic pain. mypainchicago.com. Let's make you pain-free.
AM 560. The Answer.
Nice. Sing it. This is a friend. You kind of look like Rick Springfield.
Thank you very much.
I don't know
He's
what he looks like.
He's a handsome man.
Well, I don't know what he looks like now, but
I look like an old Rick Springfield.
Back in the day, yes. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Congressman Bob Dole, that's Dole with a D, not an E, at 7:37, talk guns and small business job creation.
And Oscar solves its diversity problem. Oh, Will Smith rejoices. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Sunny and 64 degrees. A senior Turkish official this morning says those 3 suicide attackers who carried out the deadly attack on Istanbul's main airport were nationals of Russia, Uzbekistan, and Kyrgyzstan. Tuesday's gunfire and suicide bombing at Ataturk Airport killed 42. A suicide bomber in Afghanistan targeting a bus carrying police trainees has killed 30. The Taliban have confirmed they were behind the suicide bombing. A surprise in Britain this morning. Former London Mayor Boris Johnson now says he is not interested in becoming Prime Minister, replacing David Cameron.
My role will be to give every possible support to the next Conservative administration to make sure that we properly fulfil the mandate of the people that was delivered at the referendum and to champion the agenda I believe in.
Cameron announcing his resignation last week after British voters decided to leave the European Union. Wildlife and law enforcement officials near Glacier National Park in Montana searching for a grizzly bear that attacked and killed a mountain biker. A warning that's sure to disappoint many who enjoy sneaking that quick taste of cookie dough this morning. The Food and Drug Administration says Folks should not eat raw dough or batter of any kind due to an ongoing outbreak of illnesses related to the strain of E. coli bacteria found in some batches of flour. The FDA says those who got sick ate or handled raw dough that contained flour made at a General Mills plant in Kansas City. General Mills has voluntarily recalled 10 million pounds of flour sold under the Gold Medal Wondra, and Signature Kitchen brands. Illinois lawmakers are expected to vote on a stopgap spending deal and a deal that would ensure schools would open in August and fund state services over the next 6 months today in Springfield. And an investigation is underway after 2 were found dead in a west suburban Bensonville home after a well-being check. Anthony Rizzo and inside the park home run, helping the Cubs to a 9-2 win over the Reds. James Shields gets his first win as a White Sox pitcher in a 9-6 victory over the Twins. The news service of Napa Auto Parts with more than 400,000 quality parts, 90 years of experience. Napa can help you keep just about anything on the road. So stop by your local Napa Auto Parts store and keep it running longer, stronger with Napa know-how. 7:35 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
I wish every Republican voter understood what's going on right now.
The Joe Walsh Show.
My God, Trump raised about as much as somebody running for the school board would raise in the month of May. Why? Because the Republican Party donors will not give him money. Why? Because they want him to lose.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5. Right after Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Death by 1,000 cuts. That's what's going on with Trump right now.
Come to Cabela's 4th of July sale and gear up for Independence Day. Get 50% off a Caravan 10-foot by 10-foot shelter. Shop in-store at Hoffman Estates or Hammond or at Cabela's.com.
My name is David Hochberg, and I'm Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, give me a call. Tom, Chicago firefighter, called to refinance his $400,000 5% non-reaffirmed mortgage. Until recently, Tom's only option would have been to pay down his loan over $35,000 and secure a FHA loan. I have outstanding news. My team can now refinance homeowners discharged at least 4 years from a Chapter 7 bankruptcy into a conventional loan instead of an FHA loan. This is a huge game changer for borrowers looking to refinance their non-reaffirmed mortgages after a Chapter 7. If you like to refinance out of your non-reaffirmed mortgage with a ridiculously high rate, like Tom did, give me a call now at 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. I've helped thousands of AM560 listeners, but I can't help if you don't call 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage and Equal Housing Lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage License 4358, RMLA, NMLS 19186.
Get ready for the event of the summer, the Lyle Eyes to the Skies Festival, July 1st through 3rd. If you had to pick only one festival this summer, this is the one you and your family can't miss. The Lyle Eyes to the Skies Festival has been entertaining folks for over 30 years with morning and evening balloon launches, balloon glows, nightly fireworks, and live music on 2 stages. Plus, there's a carnival with rides, craft fair, a huge kids area, and over 50 unique food vendors. Ever wondered what riding in a hot air balloon feels like, but maybe a bit nervous? Try a tethered balloon ride. The balloons are tied off to the field and go up between 50 and 100 feet in the air. Take some amazing pictures from this incredible view. Make plans now for the Lyle Eyes to the Skies Festival, July 1st through 3rd. Admission is just $8 each day with kids under 6 free. Go to eyes-to-the-skies.org for special discounts for military on July 3rd and for locations of free parking and shuttle service. That's eyes-to-the-skies.org. You can also get the complete balloon launch schedule and all the info you'll need for an awesome weekend. Don't miss the Lyle Eyes to the Skies Festival, July 1st through 3rd.
Are you hiring? Do you know where to post your job to find the best candidates? Posting your job in one place isn't enough to find quality candidates. If you want to find the perfect hire, you need to post your job on all the top job sites. And now you can. With ZipRecruiter.com, you can post your job to 100-plus job sites, including social media networks like Facebook and Twitter, all with a single click. Find candidates in any city or industry nationwide. Just post once and watch your qualified candidates roll in to ZipRecruiter's easy-to-use interface. No juggling emails or calls to your office. Quickly screen candidates, rate them, and hire the right person fast. Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by over 400,000 businesses. And right now, listeners can try ZipRecruiter for free by going to ZipRecruiter.com/trial. That's ZipRecruiter.com/trial. One more time, To try it for free, go to ZipRecruiter.com/trial.
7:39. Let's get an update on the roads in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the Tri-State Tollway southbound, it's really slow. 21 to 137. Northbound, Cicero to 47th. And from the Cermak Toll to the Grand Avenue Curve, Veterans Memorial stop and go. Boughton to the Reagan Tollway and Butterfield up to Army Trail. Edens is 22 minutes. Lake Hook to the Junction, outbound 45. The Kennedy, 36 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 45 minutes. The Eisenhower, 57 minutes. Thorndale to the Loop, outbound 50. Stevenson, an hour and 7 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 40 minutes. Bryan, 35 minutes. 95th to downtown. The Skyway is all open again. Traffic service of CC's Pizza. Can you believe it? CC's now has 3 stuffed crust pizzas. Original pepperoni, new pretzel, and new bacon stuffed. Try them all and your other CC's favorites for just $5 and change. The CC's buffet just got better. Believe it. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Partly sunny and 81 today. Chance of a shower or storm overnight, low 60. 64 at O'Hare, 68 along Chicago's lakefront. Next news at 8, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Tasty Catering. Stop by and try their food before planning your awesome corporate event menu. Visit tastycatering.com.
Your money. Find out how to keep more of it and live debt-free. Tonight on The Dave Ramsey Show, starting at 7 on AM 560. The Answer.
Dan and Amy, as we suspected, Fox News reporting just now that a Chechen terrorist who trains Russian-speaking militants for ISIS is believed to be the planner of the deadly Istanbul Ataturk airport attack. This being reported by Turkish media as well. So continue to keep that story updated as more information is provided and we understand the responsible parties as that continues to come into focus. Multiple outlets reporting ISIS involvement and obviously the planning of it. And as we suggested from the outset, boy, it looked eerily similar to the attack at the airport in Brussels. And so it turns out this is part of ISIS's signature, unfortunately. Well, turning to politics, both local and federal, Congressman Bob Dold, that's Dold with a D, not an E.
Thank you.
I still can't get that song out of my head.
I know, isn't it great? It's Dold with a D, not an E. Do you want me to sing it for you?
No, I don't.
Oh, come on, we have an hour and a half. Ready?
It's Dold with a D, not an E.
Yeah.
They harmonize.
I love Peter, Paul, and Mary, who I believe recorded that. That's on the flip side of the 45 with Puff the Magic Dragon, I think. So Bob Dold running. This is
Again, it's like a perpetual nightmare.
Well, it's like
don't you think?
It's like the Ali Frazier trilogy.
Oh, okay.
Right, and so I guess you call this third contest between Bob Dold and Brad Schneider, one fall each. This is the third fall. I guess you call this the Thrilla in Winnetka. That doesn't rhyme. Anyway, he's running for re-election against Brad Schneider. This is one of the most hotly contested races in the country for the third cycle in a row. And he's in the midst of a bus tour through his district, which started yesterday. People Before Politics bus tour. Today he's going to be at North Point Resources in Zion. The Thrilla in Zion. Now, that still doesn't rhyme. We're going to have to workshop that.
You really are trying.
Pleased to be joined by Congressman Bob Dold. Bob, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Dan, Amy, it's great to be with you.
So why don't we start there just with the issue of radical Islamic terrorism with the update on what happened in Turkey and who the responsible parties are. It seems to me there's a real divide between the bedwetters in the House Democrat caucus who staged that sit-in last week to talk about gun ownership and Republican leadership that believes the focus should be on Islamic terrorism. How do you distinguish between the two sides and react to what we've seen both this week in Istanbul and then yesterday in Afghanistan with the suicide bombing as well?
Well, Dan, there's no question that we see a rise of what's going on with ISIS. Frankly, we need from the administration a plan to how do we defeat them. So this is not a JV team. They have been growing their ranks. We see what they're able to do outside of kind of their home front as they're going into San Bernardino, into Orlando, obviously what happened in Turkey. And we really have gotten no response or a plan for how to deal with it. So this is absolutely critical. It's a huge national security issue that we have to deal with, and we have to call it exactly what it is. This is terrorism that wants to come to our shores, that do not like our way of life. And frankly, it's high time that this administration step up and produce a plan for how we defeat them.
Well, do we even know how many FBI agents are, patrolling social media to make sure, about the recruitment, trying to recruit, homegrown terrorists, people who are living in mommy's basements?
Sure. I mean, there's no question that the cyber warfare that's going on in terms of how they're recruiting folks, we know that that's a big portion, at least from our intelligence community, that's a portion of what ISIS is trying to do right now, is trying to radicalize individuals where they sit right now, whether that be in the United States or around the world. And so this is something that is growing in terms of the threat. And again, as we look at kind of the territory that they've been able to maintain, it's the size of Indiana. And frankly, they've had it for over 2 years. It is a huge recruiting tool. They are telling people we are taking on the West and we are still here. And that is one of the things that I think we have to deal with in a concise and direct way.
Now, you've also introduced legislation on guns in the wake of the Orlando terrorist attack, and kind of try to, my description, kind of walk the middle a little bit between a more absolutist Second Amendment position, the NRA position, and the kind of assault weapon ban regurgitation that the Democrats have proposed. Well, explain your proposal
Sure.
and the rationale for it.
So the proposal that I have put forth with some other Republicans and Democrats is trying to make sure that we are keeping guns out of the hands of known or suspected terrorists. It's a very narrowly tailored list. It is the no-fly list and a select D list. And the other key ingredient with regard to that is that we will provide due process. So if indeed, and we know there's going to be people that are on that list that shouldn't be on that list, that they have their time before a judge, a short time, I think it's 2 weeks, that they would be in front of a judge to determine whether they should be on that list or not. And so we think that is protecting people's Second Amendment rights and also trying to do the work of keeping the guns out of the hands of known or suspected terrorists that want to do our nation harm.
And so it's a similar measure to what Senator Susan Collins from Maine proposed, right?
That's exactly right, Amy. So it would be a similar measure. And again, we recognize that the only way that this is going to move forward is if we get bipartisan support to move forward on it. So we're trying to make sure that we're being very cognizant of the fact that we're not looking to try to take people's guns away. We're trying to make sure that we're creating a safe way and want to make sure that we are keeping radical Islamic terrorists away from purchasing weapons here in the United States.
Well, we're talking to Congressman Bob Dole from Illinois' 10th District up there in the North Shore and the North Suburbs. I want to move to a domestic matter that was raised at a rally that involved Elizabeth Warren and Hillary Clinton. Elizabeth Warren raising the issue of the cost of college education, which is interesting coming from someone who was paid $400,000 to teach one class at Harvard.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious. So it's but these are the glass houses that the likes of Elizabeth Warren live in, and they're very expensive glass houses, by the way.
Yeah,
But
I wonder what you learned for that kind of money.
But you have a proposal on student debt as well, and it's not the Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren perspective. What's your perspective on the issue of the affordability of college?
Well, look, we all know that the college affordability is getting worse and worse. It's getting further and further out of reach for whether it be students that are looking to try to go off to college or try to better themselves in career readiness, or the parents that are looking at it saying, how am I going to be able to afford to send my kids to school? I hear it each and every day. The proposal that I've put forth really is a private sector proposal. It's engaging the business community to try to give them some incentive to help pay down the student loan debt faster. And so we would give them a tax credit for 50% up to the $5,250 annually to be able to help pay down student loan debt. That is going to be a plus not only for the student that's able to pay down their debt faster, it's a plus for the employers because the student or the recent graduate views that as a benefit far better than any benefit that is being offered by employers today. And the other thing is that it's protecting hardworking taxpayers because we know that 10 to 15% of the loans out there today will default in the first 3 years. And frankly, who's going to be on the hook? We all are.
And so this is interesting. So this is of a kind. It's not the same idea, but it's similar in perspective to what Mitch Daniels is doing at Purdue University with the income share agreements.
Well, Mitch Daniels' income share agreement, I think, is certainly a positive one. The other thing that Mitch Daniels did in terms of trying to tackle the overall student loan debt is he went to the different colleges at Purdue and said, who can do a 3-year degree? And so immediately cutting 25% of the costs out for some of those students. So there's no question that Mitch Daniels is taking an outside-of-the-box approach in trying to make sure that Purdue is offering things to students. It's innovation in education that we need.
And just before we let you go, you're a congressman, so you're federal office, but you live in Illinois like the rest of us. And so I noted that the legislation to help Puerto Rico restructure its finances passed the Senate yesterday. I'm wondering if maybe you would consider trying to rally people to change Illinois' designation from a U.S. state to a U.S. territory so that we could get similar treatment from Congress.
I mean, Dan, the one thing that we know is Illinois' finances are in big trouble. We have more debt per capita than any other state in the union. Obviously, what happened in Puerto Rico, the Senate, when they finally acted, it's just a couple days shy of what will be a $2 billion payment, of which the governor down in Puerto Rico said they will not be able to make. It is a huge problem, and what we want to make sure happens with regard to Puerto Rico and what will likely have to happen in other places is the taxpayers are not on the hook for any sort of a bailout. It will reward bad behavior, and that's unacceptable. So, as we look at what's happening here in Illinois, I think those that are looking to say that the government's going to bail them out, I want to make sure that they know that, frankly, that will not be met with much favor in the United States Congress.
He is Congressman Bob Dole. He's on a bus tour in his district, People Before Politics bus tour today, 9 o'clock at North Point Resources in Zion, and then at Fred's Diner. Stop by at 10 o'clock in Zion. Bob, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Dan, great to be with you. Amy, you as well.
All right, thank you. And you can't miss that bus. It's got Dole written all over it. And he joined us
with a D, not an E.
Yeah, and he joined us on our Turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
And a little trivia. I do believe it's John McCain's old bus from the 2008.
Boy, I hope it's not jinxed.
Oh, it's not. Smells like Palin. Just kidding. Today, we're going to have plenty of sunshine. That came out wrong. A high of 81 degrees, but really what comes out right. And then tonight, showers or thunderstorms likely, a low of 60. And for Friday, it's going to be pleasant, a little bit cooler, some clouds, some sun, a high of 73 degrees. Let's get the travel times. I'm sure the numbers will come out right for Jim Telemonte.
We'll try, Amy and Dan. It's a really high number on the outbound Edens. Jammed Montrose to Tower Road with a stall on the right shoulder. 55 minutes. Montrose to Lake Cook. Inbound just 21 minutes. Kennedy, 35 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 45. The Eisenhower's 57 minutes from Thorndale to downtown, outbound 50. Stevenson, an hour and 7 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound, it's 40 minutes. Ryan, 35 minutes, 95th to downtown. The Skyway is open again after an overnight truck crash had it closed westbound. Southbound Tri-State bottled up, 21 to 137. Northbound heavy delays, Cicero to 47th, and from the Cermak toll to the Grand Avenue curve. Veterans Memorial, stop and go Boughton most of the way to St. Charles, then jammed North Avenue to 290 after an earlier truck stall. Traffic Answers. The Guardian Security Services Traffic Center on AM 560 The Answer.
The stock market may seem like a roller coaster ride, but your finances don't have to be. You may be wondering, is there another big correction on the horizon? If so, are you prepared, or are you at the mercy of stockbrokers if it happens? Let Online Trading Academy teach you how to navigate the stock market during these changing times. They offer professional trading and investing education for every skill level. They'll teach you a rules-based strategy, trading on knowledge, not speculation, so you can identify market changes before they happen. Reserve your seat today for a free half-day training course at their state-of-the-art education facility in Lombard. Call 877-OTA-CHIC now. Mention this ad, and Online Training Academy will send you a free home video study course valued at $247 just for calling. Call now, 877-OTA-CHIC.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I'm telling you right now, it's awesome. I was trying to get my blood pressure regulated, okay? And, after 3 days of taking this thing, my blood pressure went back down to normal. I am ecstatic. I am so happy with this stuff. It is my savior.
Well, I had back pain for the last 40 years. 4 days after I started taking this stuff,
it's good.
This was the first summer that I have not had to have a steroid shot to help me to breathe.
The reason why I'm taking it because I've got Hep C. Once I began taking your stuff, it took a few months, but believe it or not, my liver enzymes are way down and it's normal now. It works.
Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com.
Use promo code CHICAGO.
When you hear the word chiller, the first thing that pops into your mind may be a frozen drink from your favorite convenience store. If you run a business or you're a maintenance engineer, you know of a different kind of chiller, the mechanical one that keeps you, your employees, and customers cool in the summer. And with this summer predicted to be hotter than normal, you don't want to get stuck on one of those 90-plus degree days with no AC. Better call Air Comfort and get your chiller tuned up and running at peak performance. A professional inspection can find small problems before they become big problems, and proper maintenance can keep your system from wasting energy and money. Air Comfort will make sure your equipment is clean and obstacle-free. And if your AC is about to or has stopped working, they can install temporary solutions to keep you cool while the long-term fixes are put in place. The key is preventative maintenance, and Air Comfort can help. Schedule a comprehensive assessment of your mechanical system today. Call 708-345-1900 or visit aircomfort.com. Air Comfort, providing the right climate for business since 1935.
And now, a moment of objectivism with Yaron Brook and the Ayn Rand Institute.
Have you ever heard the phrase, money is the root of all evil? Philosopher Ayn Rand had the opposite view. She argued that money is the root of all good. She stood up for the value of money because, in her words, wealth is the product of man's intellect. Today's standard of living with our computers, cell phones, and life-saving medicines far outstrips the wildest dreams of the past. All this wealth had to be created by individuals, and money is what enables production. Money is your means of survival, a character in Ayn Rand's most famous novel, Atlas Shrugged, warns. The verdict you pronounce upon the source of your livelihood is the verdict you pronounce upon your life. From the Ayn Rand Institute, I'm Yaron Brook.
This has been a moment of objectivism from the Ayn Rand Institute. To learn more, listen to the Yaron Brook Show, Saturdays at 4 on AM 560, and visit ariradio.com.
Why are Ayn Rand's ideas so compelling? Her worldview, her philosophy, expressed dramatically in her novels Atlas Shrugged and The Fountainhead, embodies the ideals stated by the Founding Fathers in the Declaration of Independence and sets forth the requirements necessary to achieve a flourishing life. She called her philosophy objectivism and said it was a philosophy for living on Earth. Today, decades after her death, objectivism continues to stir debate and inspire passion for the spirit of individualism and the enduring American dream.
AM 560, The Answer.
I am so glad I did it. I'm just mad at myself for waiting so long. Hi, Amy Jacobson here for CertaPro Painters. You know, our front porch had chipping and peeling. It looked old and run down, but thanks to CertaPro Painters, it looks brand new again. And trust me, my neighbors are happy I did it. And you know, it's not too late to book that painting project. But don't wait. Be sure to get on CertaPro Painters' summer painting schedule today. Call 800-GO-CERTA or visit CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. You know, CertaPro Painters will work around your busy schedule to get your home looking picture perfect for all your summer entertaining. That's why CertaPro Painters says we do painting, you do life. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Whether it's residential or commercial, interior or exterior, it's not too late to get that painting project off your to-do list. Call now, 1-800-GO-CERTA, 1-800-GOCERTA, or visit CertaPro.com today.
Women's Care Center of LaGrange thinks all human life is sacred. That's why they established a refuge for women like Jasmine, who thought abortion was her only choice. Now Jasmine's son is 1 year old and is the joy of her life. Now's your chance to make a significant difference in young women's lives, just like Jasmine and their unborn babies. Women's Care Center of LaGrange is looking for a new executive director to lead their organization and advance it to the next level, starting immediately. The ideal candidate will have experience in social media, networking, fundraising, and donor database management. If you or someone you know is ready to use their God-given talents to help Women's Care Center of LaGrange reach their potential, please call Laura at 708-352-5000. That's 708-352-5000. Or email your resume to Women's Care Center at core.com. That's Women's Care Center at core, CORE.com.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
The outlines of a stopgap budget deal are emerging. Has Governor Rauner made a judicious compromise? We'll ask the question at 8 and take your answers at 8:08.
And the latest on the terrorist attacks in Turkey and how one Chicago woman got a cruise ship to avoid going to Istanbul. But first, let's go into the newsroom and say good morning once again to Mike Scott.
Amy Dan, a senior Turkish official, says 3 suicide attackers that carried out attacks in Istanbul were from Russia, Uzbekistan, and Kyrgyzstan. Fox with the latest on those developments and that developing story in Turkey this morning in just a moment. Governor Rauner and leaders in the General Assembly huddling over a budget compromise that may get a vote today in Springfield. Cubs beat the Reds. Sox nip the Twins. WIND Chicago News Time is 8 o'clock.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. They weren't from Turkey. The 3 terrorists who shot up and bombed Istanbul's airport, the number they killed rose to 43 today. Fox's Jessica Gallagher live in our Middle East Bureau.
Dave, an Uzbek, a Russian, and a Kyrgyzstani carried out the attack at Ataturk Airport on Tuesday that killed 43, according to a senior Turkish official. This S-13 people have been arrested in Istanbul on suspicion of being linked to the violence. 4 of them are foreign nationals, according to state-run Anadolu Agency. 9 others were detained in the coastal city of Izmir on suspicion of having links to ISIS. Police say the suspects had guns and documents related to the Islamic insurgents. No one has claimed responsibility for the airport attack. Dave.
Jessica, a Taliban attack in Afghanistan was even deadlier than first reported. We now know there were 2 suicide bombers. One hit a bus full of police trainees. The other attacked people rushing to the scene to help. At least 37 people were killed, 40 more injured. Security has been increased at some U.S. airports with a busy 4th of July weekend of travel coming. CIA Director John Brennan says,
it would be surprising to me that ISIL is not trying to hit us, both in the region as well as in our homeland.
It's already dumped Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and the military's opened up combat roles to women. Now, perhaps this week, the Pentagon's expected to announce new rules allowing transgender military members to serve openly. They'll keep hunting a bear today in Montana, the one that killed a man on a trail in a national forest.
Investigators say Brad Treat was mountain biking with another rider when a grizzly surprised the pair near Glacier National Park in Montana. The other rider fled and returned with help. Treat's body was found mauled to death while the bear remains at large.
That's Fox's Tom Graham. A Detroit man faces sentencing today, charged with involuntary manslaughter after his 4 dogs attacked and killed a 4-year-old boy last year. Police had to shoot the pit bulls to retrieve the child's body. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Mostly sunny and 66 degrees this morning at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. After a day of closed-door negotiations in the governor's office, it appears a budget deal that would keep the state in operation through the end of the year and fund schools would get a vote. AM 560's David Stewart lays out the timeline and details in Springfield.
While lawmakers cooled their heels, the 4 legislative leaders and the governor put together a deal to fund basic state services until after the election. As those talks were going on, Mayor Emanuel called for parity for Chicago school students.
The children of the city of Chicago are worthy of a state that is a world-class state, not being dead last in funding for public school education.
It appears Emanuel will get some of what he wants. The school funding part of the deal brings new money to districts with poor kids and allows the city to raise property taxes to fund teacher pensions. Passage would avoid a partial government shutdown as soon as Friday. David Stewart, Chicago.
A man is dead after he was shot on Chicago's near North Side. Police say the victim was gunned down last night in the 1100 block of North Clark. The shooter fled the scene in another vehicle. Flight attendants and Chicago-based United Airlines have a tentative agreement on a new contract. The deal raises the pay of United's best-paid flight attendants by 31%. Cook County Board has decided to ask voters whether offices of county clerk and recorder of deeds should be consolidated. The fall referendum would be binding. Anthony Rizzo, an inside-the-park home run, helping the Cubs over the Reds 9-2. Long balls for Addison Russell and Albert Almora Jr. as well. James Shields gets win number 1 in a White Sox uniform, 9-6 over the Twins. Lori Saladino and Frazier all launching long home runs. The news service of Napa Auto Parts, more than 400,000 quality parts, 90 years of experience. Napa can help you keep just about anything on the road. So stop by your local Napa Auto Parts store and keep it running longer, stronger with Napa know-how. 8:04, time to check the climate of your business with aircomfort.com, providing the right climate for business since 1935. And the AM 560 Business Beat is next from the Fox Business Network and a service of Turnkey.pro. Here's Ginny Casola.
From the Fox Business Network, United Airlines and its 25,000 flight attendants have a tentative new contract. For the first time since the merger between United and Continental Airlines, all of the airline's flight attendants will be covered under a single labor agreement. The parent company of Olive Garden reported a stronger quarter. Darden Restaurants made more money than a year ago. Darden also owns Bahama Breeze restaurants, and business at that chain was stronger than Olive Garden, Longhorn Steakhouse, and the Capitol Grill, also owned by Darden. Walmart is adding stores in 11 more states to its Walmart Pay system. Walmart Pay allows you to pay for things with your smartphone. It will now be available in more than 500 new stores. The Dow Jones Industrial's up 284 points yesterday. NASDAQ up 87. The S&P added 34. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Ginny Cosola.
8:05 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Most of America is just straight up car stupid.
The Dave Ramsey Show.
You fleece your car, acting like when you rented your car, you did a good deal. Give me a break. And the stupid thing loses 60 to 70% of its value when you buy a new one in the first 4 years that you drive it. So you turn $30,000 into $11,000 and then scratch your head and wonder why you can't get ahead financially. This is not hard to think about, people.
Dave Ramsey. Weeknights starting at 7. Presented by Wintrust Community Bank on AM 560. The Answer.
Raise your hand if you think you know what identity theft is. Just kidding. This is a radio commercial. We can't tell if your hand is up. But we can tell you that if you think identity theft is when someone adds charges to your credit card, you're only partially right. Identity theft is when someone pretends to be you, to open new accounts in your name, or any number of other bad things. That's where LifeLock can help. We use proprietary technology to detect and alert you to a whole range of identity threats. And if you have a problem, our U.S.-based team of specialists will work to fix it. You'll get more protection with LifeLock than you get from free credit monitoring alone. Obviously, no one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses, but LifeLock is the best identity theft protection available. Join LifeLock right now and get a special 15% discount off your first year. Visit LifeLock.com and use promo code 15OFF. That's 15 off to take advantage of an incredible 15% discount off your first year. Act now. Offer ends July 3rd. Go to LifeLock.com and enter promo code 15OFF. LifeLock.
8:06 in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. Let's get the latest now with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The outbound Edens is very heavy. Montrose to Tower with a stall on the right shoulder. 55 minutes. Montrose to Lake Cook, inbound 21 minutes. Kennedy, 45 minutes either way between O'Hare and downtown. The Eisenhower, 58 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, 44 from Manheim. Outbound, 40 minutes to Manheim, an hour to Thorndale. Stevenson, 55 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 40. Ryan is 35 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State, southbound heavy, 21 to Bradley. Northbound, stop and go 115th to 31st, and from the Cermak toll to the Grand Avenue curve. Eastbound Adams tollway slow in pockets between Beverly and 53. Then it's heavy Elmhurst to Lee. Reagan tollway delays from the Aurora toll to Farnsworth, Naperville to Yackley, and Roosevelt to the Tri-State. Veterans Memorial, stop and go out to the Reagan tollway, and jammed North Avenue to 290 after a stall. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. And your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today, partly sunny, high 81 tonight. Mostly cloudy with a shower or thunderstorm, low 60. Intervals of clouds and sunshine for tomorrow with a high of 73. Patchy clouds at night, low 56. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
64 at O'Hare, 68 along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update, 8:30, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by HealthQuest Radio with Dr. David Kolbaba. HealthQuest Radio is heard Saturday mornings at 11 o'clock here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. Welcome to your Thursday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
So I would just advise everybody be careful about suddenly attributing to whoever pops up at a time of economic anxiety the label that they're populists.
First, we heard the gunfire. After, we heard the screamings. And everybody started running. After 1 minute was the explosion.
It would be surprising to me that ISIL is not trying to hit us, both in the region as well as in our homeland.
ISIS is looking strong. They look like they're winning. We have to give them a big, fat, ugly defeat. We have to defeat them fast.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. What up? Well, what is up is that we've got a lot more information about the terrorists that were involved in the brutal terrorist attack at Ataturk Airport in Istanbul this week. The three are Russian nationals: Russia, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, and they apparently went to Syria for training.
ISIS training.
Right. Turkish media suggesting that, per official confirmation, they very likely came from Raqqa, trained by an ISIS terrorist who recruits Russian nationals to train for these types of terrorist attacks. And as we've said, the terrorist attack at the Ataturk airport, very similar to in execution to the terrorist attack at the Brussels airport.
Yeah, and 22 people were detained this morning. 13 were taken from a neighborhood in Istanbul, and the other were from Izmir. And the State Department yesterday issued a travel warning, urging Americans not to go to Turkey and not to go to Istanbul. And real quickly, a dear friend of mine, her son and husband and a lot of Chicagoans are on this yacht. It's kind of like a Viking cruise, but it's out of a separate company out of the western suburbs. And they called the president of the cruise company said, we need, you can't go to Istanbul, Turkey.
Because they're supposed to fly out of Istanbul.
Yeah, they're supposed to fly in 2 days. They're supposed to fly to Istanbul. And he said, well, we have other people to pick up there. So I thought they're, profits over people. They weren't listening to the State Department warning. Well, they changed their mind late yesterday, and now they're flying. They're going to dock the ship in Athens, Greece, and fly out of there. So if you don't think you have power as one person, you do.
Yeah, okay.
To wake some people up, those corporate greedy people sometimes.
Well, speaking of the power of one person, I want to talk a little bit about the state budget, stopgap budget. And this is not a real budget. It's a stopgap budget to get us through January 1, although it would include a year's worth of funding for K through 12 education. Very interesting. Yesterday, you had a number of Illinois newspapers who read a piece from the Daily Herald editorial, but a number of Illinois newspapers kind of banded together and wrote kind of the Enough is Enough editorial that was on the front pages of the State Journal Register in Springfield, and the Daily Herald had a version, and the Sun-Times, and so on and so forth. I'm not sure that prompted anything that wasn't otherwise going to happen, but the outlines have emerged of a deal to avoid the prospect of some schools not opening in August, and in particular, schools that are woefully mismanaged and, as Governor Rauner suggests, have been for decades, most notably the Chicago Public Schools. At noon today, by noon today, the Chicago Public Schools will have $22 million left in the bank, which allows them to operate for about 36 hours.
Wow.
Short of a rescue from Springfield yet again. So here's the rescue of sorts. The deal under consideration, it's being authored right now, likely to be voted on by the General Assembly today. The deal would give CPS $100 million of a $250 million statewide poverty grant that is targeted to low-income districts, thus poverty grant. The remaining $150 million would be split among low-income downstate districts. Also would allow Chicago to increase its property taxes above the cap up to $250 million to fund Chicago teacher pensions.
But they just raised their property taxes to fund police and fire
It was
fighters' pensions.
It was so much fun. Well, let's do it again.
Let's do it again and again.
And keep doing it.
Yeah.
Well,
we're not going to stop.
You just understand, as Chicago denizens, with both Amy and me are, you don't actually own your home. You rent it from city government.
Oh, okay.
And they can seize it at any time they want. They won't seize it. They won't come in and just put it on a trailer. They'll seize it a little bit at a time through confiscatory taxation
Gosh,
and
and I
regulation.
thought the chewing tobacco ban would help fund the teacher pensions.
Yeah. Boy.
Come on, Addison Russell. You're not chewing enough tobacco.
Right. You're going to have to roll the dice again. The state would also pick up about $205 million in CPS pension costs, teacher pension costs, but it won't start picking up the tab until next year. That pickup is contingent on the General Assembly passing a pension reform bill by January 1st of next year. So it's essentially, here's a pot of money to deal with the fact that you, Tiny Dancer Toady, Forrest Claypool, are cowards, and you won't take on the finances of your district. You won't close the 150 schools that you need to be closed. Schools like Fenger High School and 111th and Wallace, where it's a school for 2,800 kids and 315 are enrolled. You won't close the schools that need to be closed. You won't deal with finances. You won't deal with pensions. You won't take on Karen Lewis. You won't stop providing 2/3 of the teacher contribution to their pensions, despite the fact they are looking at $140,000 in over 30 years and $2.1 million out after 30 years. So you won't take on any of the structural infirmities of the system. So we'll incentivize you by saying, here's $200 million towards your pension obligations, but you're going to have to pass something on the matter of pension reform by January 1 to access that money. That's about the best Ronner can hope to do. And so the question is Ronner caving here? Should he let CPS kind of disintegrate into dust? Or is this a judicious compromise that he has inked, if it goes through today, based on the political landscape as it exists, which is Chicago Democrats with supermajorities in the General Assembly who are willing to shoot hostages, to use an analogy, if the governor doesn't give them at least a partial bailout of Chicago, in addition to the authority, giving the Chicago the authority to basically solve your own problems to some extent by saying, go raise property taxes. It's your school district. You run it. You go do something with it. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Take your calls on this. Let's go to Sean in Elmwood Park.
Well, wait a minute. I'm a little hazy on math, but you just said $22 million gets you through 36 hours. Did I hear you right?
Yes.
So then $100 million and $200, you're not through the month. You're not through the month. So the issue is
that's an addition to their regular state support. In addition to,
and that's going to go to teacher
tyranny. And you're right. I think it's cute that people pretend they own their house. And it's not just in Chicago. It's anywhere. They just admitted we don't care what the ad valorem tax system is, the covenant we had with you. You really don't have any property rights. So this is your opportunity to man up. So do me a favor, Router. It'll take Madigan and Cullerton to stand on each other's shoulder to look the eye in the eye. Stand up, put your fist on the table, and tear it down now. Tear it all down. Close everything. You are the governor. See, but I never thought that was going to happen. It's always a shell game. It's a Potemkin argument. And in the end, they're going to get exactly what they want. Like when they borrow money at junk rating from their donors, from their friends, who make quadruple the time, knowing very well that this is going to happen. You're going to tax the people, and your payments will be right on schedule, and they'll be 5 times what they should be. It's all a Potemkin argument, ruse, and in the end, we get all emotional. Stand your ground, and guess who's going to get the bill, pigeons? You are. So stand up and tear it down, or I will. I'll pull a Jon Snow in the middle of Springfield all by myself. Run your horses at me, because that's what it's going to take.
Yeah,
that's what it's going to take.
Yeah.
This is the flip side of populism. See, it's free-range slavery. Whether you're in Illinois or in the United States, it's time to rip it apart. Frame off restoration. No public schools. Why, in all this thing, why do old people pay 5 and 6 and 7 times to raise kids who aren't their own? Why Why do homosexuals pay 5 and 6, 7 times to raise their neighbor's kid who's going to turn around, make fun of them, and break their window? You got kids, you pay for your damn school, period.
All right, Sean.
Thanks, Sean.
Thanks for the call and the Game of Thrones analogy. I'll note that Jon Snow would not have survived the Battle of the Bastards had he not had some help. And so this is the problem Ronner faces. I think Ronner has made some missteps politically out of the gate. I think he's expended too much political capital last year, for example, on these right-to-work initiatives, resolutions, where the ground was not made fertile to actually move that policy. But here, I think this is a judicious compromise. I think this is...
So he didn't cave.
I don't see it as that. I think this is a judicious compromise. I think that Madigan and Cullerton want to bait him into doing that, shutting down the schools and playing the PR game and who gets the blame, rather than Ronner saying, look, I was elected to advance structural reform. I was elected to take on the political ruling class in Springfield, and I'm going to do that, and I have been doing that. But I'm not going to say to the hostage takers, I dare you to shoot. I'm not going to allow Illinois families with school children to be caught in the crossfire. So I will concede here this compromise, but I'm going to live to fight another day. And there is a hand that I am going to go all in on. And that hand is with AFSCME, the 37,000 state workers who affiliate with that union, who won a 29% pay increase after Ronner's negotiated 18 different collective bargaining agreements with smaller public sector units. That includes a wage freeze. That's where you go all in, and you get to the Chicago Democrats' financiers, which are the public sector unions. That, to me, is the play, because remember what Ronner really has to do. He's got to flip the House. He's got to flip the House in November. Otherwise, the next 2 years are going to be very much like the first 2 years. And he is standing athwart the barbarians saying stop and holding the gate as long as he can. But at some point, it's going to give. And so this is a predicate to, number one, go all in on the hand that you want to go all in on, that you should go all in my estimation. And number two, win elections as the means to policy ends for the last 2 years of his first term. So you got to think beyond just today and beyond just being punitive to CPS, no matter how much they deserve it. Willie on the west side.
How you doing, man?
Hey, Willie.
I just want to say with that guy Sean from Elmwood Park, it's too damn early in the morning to be outraged. This guy's just living a state of being all crazy. Somebody need to just be honest with that dude and say that, get him checked out. The guy's suffering from it. Nobody need to be that angry, that often. Yeah, I ain't even had my coffee yet. I turn on the radio to hear this because I enjoy it, and hear this fool get standing up all red, pink face, sweating, shaking. What's wrong with him? Somebody need to get the boy checked out and get him to a doctor.
Thanks for the call, Willie.
Thanks, Willie.
We feel like we're doing a public service by allowing Sean from Elmwood Park to have that cathartic release.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. This is cathartic for him.
Yeah.
And then he can get on. And if we don't put him on, Willie, that's when things get really bad because he starts texting.
Right.
And then he has our cell phones. And one day he just showed up here, remember?
Yeah, and the next thing the next thing you know, he's storming the studio, and we can't have that. Rick in Downers Grove.
He wanted to come in.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Hey, good.
Hey, I got a question. How did teachers' pensions become so precious that nobody can touch them? And why is it, as a taxpayer, I have to take a pay cut in form of higher real estate taxes so a precious teacher doesn't have to suffer? I don't get that.
Yeah.
And one other thing, if you see John Cass, tell him Rick says soccer sucks and sucks bad.
Wow.
Thanks. More
I'm
anger.
finally starting to warm up to soccer. You guys would too if you were forced to watch it once a week.
Yeah.
It's not too bad.
Scott on the west side.
Hey, Dan, thanks for taking my call. Dan, this is one of those moments where I do disagree with you regarding the Bruce Rauner's treatment of the teachers union. I think he should stand his ground that it's time for them to realize that they're not the only ball game in town. There are new businesses that offer education in Chicago that opened up last year. There's the private education at the parochial schools, and these teachers, the Chicago Public School is not putting out a good product, and it's time that either we raise the expectation of the product or we eliminate the Chicago Public Schools. We don't have to kowtow to them any longer.
Thanks, Scott.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
I hope Scott pulled to the right for sirens and lights. Did you hear that? They're coming.
I hope Willie can get back to enjoying his coffee.
You're going to enjoy the forecast. Partly sunny skies, sunshine right now, but we have a few high clouds rolling in here and there, a high of 81 degrees. And then tonight we have a chance of a shower or thunderstorm. Wouldn't that be nice? A low of 60. And tomorrow it's going to be pleasant. We're going to have intervals of clouds and sunshine, but a little bit cooler, a high of just 73 degrees. Any low travel times? Here's Jim Telemonte.
Well, the inbound Edens is fairly nice. Nice and easy going, like Willie, you might say. 21 minutes late cook to Montrose. On the other hand, the angry callers might want to avoid the outbound Edens. Jammed Cicero to Tower Road. There's a stall there, still there on the right side. 55 minutes from Montrose to Lake Cook. Then there's the Adams Tollway, where there might be some sirens blaring. Westbound, it's a mess. Arlington Heights Road to Gulf Road. A crash has 2 left lanes blocked. And it's also heavy Meacham to Roselle thanks to construction. Eastbound, it's slow. Beverly, much of the way to 53, and Elmhurst to Lee. On the Kennedy, it's 45 minutes either way between O'Hare and downtown. The Eisenhower, an hour and 5 minutes. Thorndale to the post office. Outbound 55 minutes. Stevenson, much improved. 45 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 40. The Rhine is 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Veterans Memorial, heavy but recovering after an earlier stall near Army Trail. It's slow Boughton to the Reagan Tollway and North Avenue to 290. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
Loud noises! Hey, get out and have some fun. Visit ChicagoRadioDeals.com for a fun night out on the town. Grab your Sweet Caroline and make a date to listen to your favorite music. Direct from Branson is Denny Diamond and the Jewels, featuring the music of Neil Diamond. Normally $76 for lunch and a show for 2. It's only $39 at ChicagoRadioDeals.com. Or head downtown for some laughs, $22. That's it. We'll get you a pair of tickets to Comedy Sports Chicago, which is a unique blend of fast and funny improv comedy that's appropriate for all ages. This Laugh Out Loud show features 2 improv teams, and they play games on stage with the referee. You, the audience, is in on it for a laugh out loud good time. Or hit the waves and take advantage of the Sea Dog Extreme Thrill Rides or Lakefront Speedboat Cruise. A lake architectural tour also awaits you as well, all from Entertainment Cruise Lines. And if you want to get out of town, well, then escape to Wisconsin. Find certificates for the Schuster Mansion Bed and Breakfast in Milwaukee or the Door County White Lace Inn. Check in every week for fun and adventure with your family and friends, only at ChicagoRadioDeals.com. That's ChicagoRadioDeals.com.
If you want to work until you drop, reduce your standard of living in retirement, or lose more of your hard-earned money in the stock market, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to generate a steady, predictable income, I'm talking real wealth and financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. A free report is now available that reveals the money-making secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. It reveals how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and wealth-building power without risking your money in the Wall Street casino. To get your free special report, visit bankonyourself.com. That's bankonyourself.com.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Mark Weingart, President and CEO of Star Creations, Inc., the fastest growing supplier of wall decor products in the U.S. When it comes to banking, I don't want to be a small fish in a big pond. That's why I bank at Signature Bank Chicago. At Signature Bank, every customer is important. I know I can pick up the phone and talk to any one of the decision makers I know and trust at Signature Bank. At Signature Bank, they understand and respond to the unique needs of my business with flexibility and fairness. I'm proud to bank with Signature Bank because I know they're deeply invested in the success of Star Creations.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Did you know 40% of all cancer could be prevented. That's a fact. Along with maintaining appropriate body weight and regular exercise, the American Institute for Cancer Research and the USDA confirm that eating 9 to 11 servings of fruits and vegetables every day is the key. Now ask yourself, am I at risk? How many servings of fruits and vegetables did I eat today? Balance of Nature has solved this problem and provides an easy and affordable way to consume over 10 servings of 31 different whole fruits and vegetables every day.
Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Call now, 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com.
Use promo code CHICAGO.
Hi, my name is Lenora Teresi. I am a mortgage loan modification application processor with the law firm Bridges & Owen Associates. I work with the attorneys of the firm to assist our clients in the modification application process. I have been thoroughly trained in the mortgage servicing regulations of the Consumer Financial Protection Act, and I know the ins and outs of dealing with all the major mortgage loan servicers. I'm very proud of the work we do and the successes we have for our clients. I would be very pleased to help you and your family with the process. The process is not easy, as any of you who have tried yourself already know. But we at Bridges & O make the servicers follow the regulations. And when you're part of a team, like we have at Bridges & O, the job is very rewarding, keeping families in their homes with affordable mortgages based on the truth. For a free consultation, call us at 224-513-1231. That's 224-513-1231.
AM 560, The Answer.
I got a response from Ditka.
Yeah.
We'll have it for you real quick.
All
We'll touch
right.
on it real quickly at 8:36.
All right, and right after that, it's nice when old friends can meet each other on the tarmac at the Phoenix airport.
Yeah, that secret meeting, not so secret when a local TV station gets a tip. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, a senior Turkish official, says 3 suicide attackers who carried out that deadly attack on Istanbul's main airport were nationals of Russia, Uzbekistan, and Kyrgyzstan. Turkish officials also have updated the death toll from that triple suicide attack to 43, including 19 foreign nationals, 238 wounded, 94 remain hospitalized. World stock markets mostly higher today as investors are gradually recovering from the shock set off by Britain's vote last week to leave the EU. And in a surprise this morning in London, former Mayor Boris Johnson says he's not interested in becoming Prime Minister, replacing David Cameron.
My role will be to give every possible support to the next Conservative administration to make sure that we properly fulfil the mandate of the people that was delivered at the referendum and to champion the agenda I believe in.
Johnson had been considered a top contender for the Conservative Party leadership and Prime Minister. Montana officials say a bicyclist was killed by a grizzly bear near Glacier National Park. It happened near the town of West Glacier. Illinois lawmakers are expected to vote on a stopgap spending deal that would ensure schools open in August and fund state services for the next 6 months. The action taking place in Springfield today. And a man dead, shot on Chicago's near North Side. Police tell us the victim was gunned down last night in the 1100 block of North Clark Street. Cubs cruise to a 9-2 win over the Reds. The Cubs are now set to open a 4-game series with the Mets tonight in New York, while the White Sox were winners over the Twins 9-6. They'll take on the Twins in a getaway game at the Cell this afternoon. The news service of Sam's Club. Sam's Club has everything you need to host the perfect cookout for less this 4th of July holiday. Boneless, skinless chicken breast, $1.88 per pound. 90-10 ground chuck, $2.98 per pound. Sam's Club. Life is better in the club. See club for details. 8:32 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher is looking for a united GOP to take on Hillary.
If Paul Ryan, if all these squishy, timid Republicans, the NRA, some fair-minded media types, if any of those factions would be in Donald Trump's corner, maybe he'd be up by 10 points right now. Who knows? Who knows? Democrats have no trouble uniting.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 on your mobile device. Now available on iHeartRadio. Online at iHeartRadio.com.
Are you hiring? Do you know where to post your job to find the best candidates? Posting your job in one place isn't enough to find quality candidates. If you want to find the perfect hire, you need to post your job on all the top job sites. And now you can. With ZipRecruiter.com, you can post your job to 100 plus job sites, including social media networks like Facebook and Twitter, all with a single click. Find candidates in any city or industry nationwide. Just post once and watch your qualified candidates roll in to ZipRecruiter's easy-to-use interface. No juggling emails or calls to your office. Quickly screen candidates, rate them, and hire the right person fast. Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by over 400,000 businesses. And right now, listeners can try ZipRecruiter for free by going to ZipRecruiter.com/trial. That's ZipRecruiter.com/trial. One more time. To try it for free, go to ZipRecruiter.com/trial.
This is a special notice to all U.S. taxpayers. If you owe the IRS or state back taxes and cannot afford to pay them back, there's good news. Due to the financial hardship many are facing in today's economy, the IRS has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative. Qualifying for this program will resolve your tax problem, end all collections, and possibly reduce your back taxes by up to 90%. If you are facing wage garnishments, liens, bank levies, audits, or payroll taxes, it's not too late. Your circumstances may qualify you for this special program, protecting your savings and your assets. If you owe the IRS or state back taxes and cannot afford to pay them back, there's no need to worry anymore. Call the hotline at Victory Tax Solutions to see if you qualify and potentially save thousands. For this free information, call 800-352-4757. 800-352-4757. That's 800-352-4757.
8:35. Let's get an update on the roads. Guardian Security Services Traffic Center, the latest with Jim Talamonte.
Westbound, Jane Addams Tollway, it's jammed. Arlington Heights Road to Gulf Road with a crash in the two left lanes. Eastbound, it is slow from Bussey to Lee. Tri-State has southbound delays 120 to 137, northbound from 111th to 47th and Roosevelt to Grand Avenue. Reagan Tollway, slow Roosevelt to the Tri-State Veterans Memorial. Stop and go Boughton to the Reagan Tollway at North Avenue to 290. The Edens inbound is 21 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 50. The Kennedy, 55 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 45. The Eisenhower's an hour and 5 minutes from Thorndale to the Loop, 45 minutes from Manheim, outbound 55 to Thorndale. Stevenson, 45 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Bryan, 35 minutes, 95th to downtown. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Providing the right climate for business since 1935. Partly sunny and 81. Cloudy with a shower or thunderstorm, low 60 overnight. 70 at O'Hare. 71 along the lakefront. Next news at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Real Estate Live with Andrew Holmes. Get honest answers to your questions every Sunday at 12 noon.
Let not your heart be troubled. Listen to me, Sean Hannity. I'll have the latest news and what it all means for you. It's coming up at 2 right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so just updating this breaking news. At Joint Base Andrews outside Washington, D.C., there apparently is an active shooter. There's a report of an active shooter. The base is on lockdown. Base personnel are being told to shelter in place, so we'll update that matter as more information becomes available, just as we've been updating the investigation into the terrorist attack in Istanbul and
43 dead now, and
updating the body count, the gruesome business of updating the body count, but also the responsible parties, the suicide bombers from Russia, trained by ISIS in Raqqa. Apparently, this is Turkish media reporting that information. We'll keep that updated, obviously, along with Mike Scott.
But what wasn't making so much news, or what they hope wouldn't make news, is a secret meeting that Bill Clinton and the Attorney General Loretta Lynch had on her private plane on the tarmac at Sky Harbor Airport. And ABC 15, that's the ABC affiliate out there in Phoenix, received a phone call. And luckily they had a crew, Dan, at Sky Harbor Airport that was quickly able to get this money shot, that's what you call it in the business, of Loretta Lynch deplaning. But it was just really convenient. Bill Clinton just happened to be there because he was golfing in Phoenix, because a lot of people go to golf in 112-degree heat in Arizona. So I'm a little, that's when golf courses are empty in Arizona. So that's strange that he just happened to be in the hottest place in the country on a day where the Benghazi report was being released, and he just happened to meet with Loretta Lynch.
Yeah, I like the fact that you use the phrase money shot because it actually is a reference to the porn industry, and we're talking about Bill Clinton, so it's totally appropriate.
But Loretta Lynch had a press conference afterwards, wasn't really aware that somebody had videotaped her getting off her plane, and was asked the question, what was that 30-minute conversation about?
I did see President Clinton at the Phoenix airport as I was leaving, and he spoke to myself and my husband on the plane. Our conversation was a great deal about his grandchildren. It was primarily social and about our travels. He mentioned the golf he played.
Yeah, mentioned the golf that he played.
Mm-hmm. Well, now, did they discuss the State Department the State Department email matter, the federal investigation, the Benghazi report, any matters of particular legal or policy consequence? Were they discussed?
Dan, thank you for the question. Here's your answer.
He did come over and say hello and speak to my husband and myself and talk about his grandchildren and his travels and things like that. So
she said nothing was mentioned about Benghazi or the email investigation, but now she's got to recuse herself because she should not be investigating this because she talked to the targeted person's husband. Hello.
Isn't
this ethically unwrong?
I take Loretta Lynch at her word. I mean, there's no reason to in any way question her integrity or independence, is there? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636-DA, turnkey.pro text line. Imputing any nefarious business between Loretta Lynch and Bill Clinton, wouldn't that just be another iteration of the vast right-wing conspiracy? Wouldn't that just be right-wingers, conservatives, hyperventilating over an innocent conversation between friends? And isn't it nice when the subjects of a federal investigation, because, oh, by the way, I know Hillary's the subject, but the Clinton Foundation is also part of the FBI investigation. And since Bill Clinton is a principal of the Clinton Foundation, he therefore is at least a material part of the investigation. But it's nice when the chief law enforcement officer of the United States and targets of federal investigations are friendly and can talk about their grandchildren and don't have to get into the dirty business of politics and criminal investigations.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
This is sick on a number of levels.
Well, just in terms of the legal canons, I mean, she's not a judge, but she is the Attorney General, and to have an ex parte conversation with a person who is material to a criminal investigation by the FBI, I would say is unethical. But that's
it's unethical, but it's also a lie. Any of us who have kids or grandkids, you talk about your kids for about 2 hot minutes at the most, and then you talk about other issues. You know, for 30 minutes, they were on the plane together. I mean, she completely lied to us.
Well, look. We don't know that. And, I mean, I could talk about Chelsea for hours.
Yeah, right.
So think about...
and all her fine award-winning reporting at NBC Nightly News.
And say,
Changing Lives, or what is that segment she did?
I mean, think about all they have in common. Say, Loretta Lynch. It's interesting. My, the father-in-law of my daughter, he's a criminal. He's a convicted felon. So there's a lot to talk about in terms of like criminal. You're in the business of prosecuting criminals, at least in part. And my family is a kind of a criminal enterprise. And then my daughter's in-laws, they're
also in on it.
Yeah, dad is a convicted felon. Then my son-in-law, he just made $90 million in investor money disappear, had to close down his hedge fund because he made a bad bet on Greece. So, I mean, and remember how we did because Hillary's so good at cattle. I mean, there's so much to talk about that has nothing to do with the unseemly and very much like the Benghazi committee, a purposeless investigation into Hillary Clinton, who I know from Robbie Mook, her campaign manager, Dickensian name campaign manager, is the most transparent Secretary of State the United States has ever had. So why not have a little bit of cocktail conversation between the Attorney General and Bill Clinton? What's wrong with that?
On the private planes, I don't know. I think she should recuse herself. 312-642-5600. That's the only thing she can do. She should do the right thing because she made a huge mistake by letting Bill Clinton on her plane for 30 minutes.
Old friends.
Thinking that she could get away with it and that he could get away with it. You never saw a shot of him, by the way, just her getting off of her plane. I don't know where they snuck him out of the wheel well. I mean, I don't know where he went. But it's so sick. They think they're so above the law that they're trying to control the law.
You're so
cynical. And meeting with the top attorney from this nation.
You're so cynical. I mean, is there any reason to believe? Is there any evidence to suggest that Bill and Hillary Clinton would in any way try and unduly influence an investigation into their business activities or an investigation into her political activities while she was Secretary of State? I mean, is there anything the Clintons have ever done to suggest that they do anything less than operate above board in a transparent fashion in compliance with the law and the ethical considerations, as they're both attorneys, throughout their public life in particular? I mean, I don't know where all of these questions about
such a string of lies,
the honesty of the Clintons. Boy, I don't know where this is coming from all of a sudden. I thought all of this stuff is just a bunch of nonsense. The investigation into Hillary, who cares? Her decision.
Well, Bill's getting nervous. That's why he had a secret meeting on a tarmac in Arizona.
Her decision making in Benghazi, who cares? With respect to Benghazi, these are what happened in Libya. Why are we bothering with this?
Inside
why
scoop.
Are we bothering with this stuff? Gosh,
I'm sure maybe he handed her a piece of paper. So are you going to charge her or not?
Brad in West Loop, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking about the paper. Did they pass any notes? Mm-hmm. Did they sign anything? Were there aides
hand
talking
signals
to other aides?
Yeah, black helicopter conspiracy theories. Two friends just catching up about family.
Up on a private plane in the dead of summer in Arizona on the tarmac. It's probably 125 degrees.
I don't.
Who wants to golf?
Thanks for the call, Brad. I don't understand.
Let's go golfing.
I don't understand where this cynicism about the Clintons is coming from.
How I just became so angry. Yeah, I know.
Cassandra in Schiller Park.
Hi, I was just going to say I don't know about the cynicism here because, of course, they spent 30 minutes talking about the kids. Bill had to explain to Loretta that if all three of them are indicted, including Chelsea, for what they did, that would mean very bad things for Chelsea. It would mean very bad things for the Clinton Foundation, and it would mean very bad things for Democrat politics as well as Loretta Lynch. So, yes, I think they spent 30 minutes talking about the kids.
Thanks for the call, Cassandra. I mean, that's not like she has 150 agents investigating her. Oh, wait. Jeff in Arlington Heights.
Hey, hi, Danny. No, what I think is happening is I think this was intentional so that Loretta Lynch can recuse herself, and then some lower-level deputy can take the fall for not indicting.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Jeff. I mean, if she did nothing wrong, she's the most transparent Secretary of State in the history of our country. That's what I'm told. Then I don't even understand. What are we talking about? This ugliness about indictments, not indictments, investigations.
He offered her some cash, I bet, some kickbacks. Hey, don't charge her, and you'll have a sweet political future. Maybe she could stay AG when Hillary becomes president because she won't charge her.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Ralph in Rantoul.
Yeah, the reason you don't see Bill is that they pump him in and pump him out in the blue juice. So when Loretta goes to the head, she just lifts up talks down through the little hole.
And his head's there.
Can see Bill, peering up from the blackness where he lives.
He's like the tidy ball man. He's in. Thanks for the call, Ralph.
Are we golfing in Arizona in the summertime? Your tea time's got to be 5 a.m. You know how I love the tea time.
Jeff and Gurnee.
Golfing, please.
Morning, guys. Great show. Thanks for taking my call. It's nice to know that life is imitating art and that the cabal is alive and well on Loretta Lynch's plane. And the thing that's scary is not so much of what she's done, but the fact that people still support her. I'll hang up and listen for your comment. Thanks so much.
Thanks for the call, Jeff. Why do you hate women? That's my response.
You're so serious.
Chris in Milwaukee, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Thanks for having me on. Yeah, I think Bill had Vince Foster talk. And kind of gave her a heads up. Remember what happened to Vince?
Yeah, he committed suicide.
God.
Thanks for the call, Chris.
Or was it forced suicide?
This is you know what this is? This is all this negativity
Yeah.
towards Hillary Clinton. This is a manifestation of Christian bigotry.
Exactly.
Will and Skokie.
Yeah, I'm going to try to do a Sean on Valium here. The thing is, this is exactly the same problem you have with Illinois, too. It's a question of, and we went to war for this, no taxation without representation. Who does the Illinois Congress represent? They represent the union. They don't represent the people. That's why the property taxes keep coming up. Who does the National Democratic Party represent? They don't represent the people. They represent the corporations. But the big lie they've been able to perpetrate is that the Republicans are in bed with the corporations. So, whenever a Democrat says anything, or especially a leftist Democrat, remember what they're accusing the other person of is the thing that they're totally guilty of doing themselves. It's always projection.
Yeah.
It's always projection.
Thanks for the call, Will. In fact, impersonating a liberal Democrat, a Cackle Caucus member, just for the last couple of minutes, I feel like I've lost 15 to 20 IQ points.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
All right, before we get to the weather, I have a Mike Ditka update. Will he or won't he? This is like cat and mouse game about him going to the Cleveland convention. The text string went a little something like this. So are you going to Cleveland? Will Trump fly you out? And he said, what are you, nuts? And then I said, yes, I'm a different kind of crazy. So the bottom line is, are you going to Cleveland and what are your speaking fees? And he said, they could not afford me and my words of wisdom. So I guess he is not going to Cleveland.
Bobolink greater than Trump.
Here's your forecast. Sunshine, a few high clouds today. Beautiful day, a high of 81 degrees. Tonight, a shower or thunderstorm likely. And then on Friday, it's going to be pleasant, but a little cooler, a high of 73. Travel times, are you in or are you out, Jim Telemonte?
Good question. I haven't figured out my fee yet, Amy, but I don't know if they can afford me either. The inbound Kennedy, traffic is very slow from Montrose to the Burns Circle. It's now 55 minutes from O'Hare to downtown, 45 from Montrose, 30 in the express lanes. A big savings there. Outbound, 45 minutes downtown to the airport. The Edens, 21 minutes Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 45 minutes. The Eisenhower, an hour and 5 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, outbound 51 minutes. Stevenson, 45 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. It's now fine outbound. The Ryan still heavy all the way in, 35 minutes, 95th to downtown. Lakeshore Drive southbound, slow Belmont to North Avenue, and 18th to the Stevenson, northbound from the Stevenson to Jackson. Columbus is now blocked, Roosevelt to Monroe, also Congress and Jackson for taste setup. The tollways have some delays, but they're all improving fairly quickly. Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
The sounds of summer from your very own pool and spa is brought to you by All Seasons Pool, Spas, and Outdoor Living. All Seasons Pools and Spas begins from the ground up with creative custom design, expert pool construction, and hardscaping, and then finishes with complete maintenance and care, leaving you to enjoy the of summer. As you soak up the sun poolside, imagine a fire pit, outdoor kitchen, or pergola. All Seasons Pool and Spa will turn your boring backyard into a vacation paradise. No need to go off the deep end. Relax, knowing that for over 60 years, All Seasons Pools and Spas has been making a splash in your neighborhood. Visit their showroom and store for a complete selection of pool, spa, robotic pool cleaners, and premium barbecue and grill islands. A trained staff is on hand to provide water testing, salt and chlorine products, and advice for servicing your pool. All Seasons Pool and Spa and Outdoor Living, 135th Street in Orland Park, or resortlivingathome.com. That's resortlivingathome.com.
I'm Dan Proft with an Upstream idea brought to you by the Illinois Opportunity Project. 27. Illinois state employees, on average, receive total compensation 27% higher than their private sector counterparts. State employees made nearly $4,000 more in wages and $13,000 in benefits than private sector employees. More than half of state workers will retire before the age of 60 with a guaranteed state pension. The state is in a financial death spiral with ground impact imminent. So keep this in mind as Governor Bruce Rauner breaks off contract talks with AFSCME, the state's largest public sector union. AFSCME has been unwilling to give on its demands for annual step increases of 3.8%, in addition to annual general wage increases. The lowball estimate of the cost of what AFSCME demands is $1.6 billion. That's $1.6 billion more from Illinois families who already pay the highest property taxes in the nation. This is Governor Rauner's moment of truth. He ran for office saying he is not a politician. He said he is a businessman who will make the difficult decisions to turn around the state he loves. We're about to find out if that's true. For more Upstream ideas, visit upstream-ideas.com. I'm Dan Proft.
Are you suffering with hearing loss? Are you sick of people constantly complaining that your TV is too loud? Are you tired of asking people to speak up? Would you like to hear more clearly, but you don't want to wear a hearing aid that makes you look old? Then you need to try Listen Clear, a life-changing breakthrough precisely designed by top audio engineers to fit your ear almost invisibly. And you can adjust Listen Clear to find the perfect way to hear everything, wherever you are and whatever you're doing. And right now you can try Listen Clear absolutely free, with free shipping. We'll even give you free batteries for life. So call now, 1-800-300-0868. Listen Clear is lightweight and completely hassle-free, and it's practically invisible. Call for your 100% free home trial with free shipping and free batteries for life. For free information, call now, 1-800-300-0868. That's 1-800-300-0868. 1-800-300-0868.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues now. And make sure to stay tuned to catch me, Mike Gallagher, coming up at 9, only on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, little confirmation on what I always knew to be true anecdotally, but now I have the data. Sox fans smarter than Cubs fans.
Oh, this is skewed research. Well, let me guess, they did this in Bridgeport.
Independent.
They conducted a survey.
No, here's how it was determined. Independent automated proofreading company Grammarly looked at the Major League Baseball websites and evaluated the grammar and spelling by fans using the comments on each team's official site. The findings, the Mets have the dumbest fans in baseball.
The Mets too?
I told you that too. Cubs fans average 5.2 errors per 100 words, while White Sox fans average only 4.8 mistakes per 100 words.
What is this? Where's your margin of error? You always...
Yeah, proving once again that White Sox fans are smarter, more learned, more erudite than Cubs fans. And, if you've been to a Sox game, you go to the poetry readings in the left field bleachers.
Oh, that's your version of the seventh inning stretch? You go with poetry readings instead?
It is very heady stuff. There's a book club in my section.
Oh my God, of course there is. What was the word that you used that you won a little free swag bag from Eric and Kathy show?
Somniloquist.
Which means?
Sleep talker. Someone who talks in their sleep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you go for words? Do you do words for the day when you go to the cell?
You know why I know that?
Why?
Because I'm a White Sox fan.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Ameritrust Mortgage is the one-stop mortgage shop. Buy or refinance. VA, FHA, and conventional. A local company. Ameritrust Mortgage is your one-stop mortgage shop.
This is Barbara Walters, president of Ameritrust. For any mortgage, call us. We know our business and we get you to the finish line fast. Time is critical when you're under contract and you're doing a mortgage. Our staff underwriter approves your loan. Ameritrust closes your loan with Ameritrust funds. There's never a wait for funds to transfer. Ameritrust is a mortgage banker. Our low interest rates are always a benefit to you. We quote them directly from live screen delivery pricing. That means the best rate. Our fee for any and all of our loans is $795. Charging points is primitive. We never charge points.
Ameritrust Mortgage. Call 815-459-7303 right now and compare. You'll get the lowest quote fast because they make the decisions. 815-459-7303 or go to am560myhome.com.
Hey, business owners, I want you to stop and think about the one part of your organization that you simply cannot live without. What comes to mind? Your employees, your location, your customers? How about your technology? Let's face it, everything rests on your network running smoothly and efficiently. And that's where Turnkey IT comes in. They